I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem under the name ThatUmbrellaGuy. I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat and told him to call me. He ignored me. I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me. I'm a man.
I like my haters like my coffee extra mad and bitter. And then they're loyal like juicer, yeah, the man's a quitter. He's strapped face up behind the platinum grill. I style faceless, just pick these mic skills. And in the street killer, I will not be denied. That I'm mic'd up, I raise my head with pride. A force of nature cruising the whip, doing walk-bys on your boulevard. Face my verbal clip. In this land of live streams, baby, I'm on the road. Got my feet on the media, scraping them up my souls. It's that umbrella guy facing the accusers. Cleated outside 14s, crushing all those losers. It's that umbrella guy, they said we couldn't make it. Never ask permission, just sense our goal and take it. The media buzzwords, they will never save you. Listen and believe it's meant to enslave you. Challenging the hypocrites and baby, I'm on fire. They flash titles like they're royalty, but it's truth that I'm a journalist. Scribble nursey rhymes, one in this grill in the basket. With a tisket and a tasket and their morals in a casket. No morals in a casket. They're always pushing make-believe and weaving straw to gold. But I'm sick of all the fairy tales and buying what I'm sold. Strolling into the backyard, taking truth on tour. Baby, there is sickness, and that umbrella guy's got the cure. Look, it's that umbrella guy knocking at the door. No more ministry of truth than the plot of 1984. Been dumping all my verbal clips. The case is filled with knowledge. They're on the mic like kindergarten, and I'm taking them to college. Why the mask, baby? Cause this has to be a crime. I'll take the mic and boom, they're in the chalk outline. I used to throw elbows, but now I'm dropping nukes. You wrote another hit piece, isn't that cute? And the worst part, they'll never learn. Did the fourth estate start channeling crash and burn? They pretend that we need to get their permission. That umbrella guy crushing their ambitions. You're not my competition. It's that umbrella. It's that umbrella guy steamrolling them out for fun. Mic check, mic wreck, paging this army of one. There's no hesitation, no doubt, not even a scintilla. The Tokyo baby and me, I'm Godzilla. Crushing them like Godzilla, like Godzilla.
All right, crushing them like Godzilla, baby. How's it going? Welcome to another wonderful day of going over stupid and crazy. I swear, there's so much of this stuff out there. How y'all doing on a nice Sunday? You know me, I'm carrying the weight of twins, triplets. It's so confusing. Woo, man. You know, yesterday we did have a fun little discussion about how easy it is to create proof of pregnancy. You know, and it was kind of scary, to be honest. You know, we went over, check this out real quick. I'm letting people get in here and then we'll go over our new topic. But we're going over how, you know, you could just live, I became pregnant with twins. Dr. Megan Fox actually was the ordering physician. You know, I'm apparently over 100 years old. You know, some people don't make fun of my age. That's very cruel, by the way. You ageist monsters. Oh, by the way, Kimberly, thank you. Welcome. Thank you for the membership. Welcome to Tugs Thugs. I'll throw that in there too. And Laura, thank you for that gifted memberships. Kicking it out there. Thank you. Appreciate that. And Amy, thank you. Welcome. Thank you for their membership. Welcome to Tugs Thugs. I think it'll be an interesting night. What we're going to do, you know, when we're going over this stuff. And again, I'm not saying that any of these types of resources were actually utilized for anything. What I'm just saying is it's crazy how easy it is to go 1 minute from, yeah, I'm carrying nothing, to the next minute being the safe harbor for triplets. Look at Dr. Megan down here, by the way, a little roaching it up. Oh my God, that's so beautiful. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. Oh, you folks make the funniest stuff there. Thank you, Roy. By the way, congrats on the triplets. I know, aren't they cute? They look just like me, to varying degrees. I mean, they're beautiful. I know. You're like, man, those children are majestic, Tug. And I'm like, yeah, I know that. They are beautiful, aren't they? So let's talk. What I thought would be interesting today is to talk about the prior. We've discussed this, but we've never actually gone over any of the other court cases. And when I say other court cases, there's allegations against Laura Owens that she's done this stuff before. And what's fascinating is you can go back and you can look at some of the records when everything falls apart. And you can actually track some of what's being said. Some of it is, it's actually quite wild. Let me put that in order. So what I want to do is I want to go over Laura Owens versus Michael. How do you pronounce that last name? Michael Maricini, I think is how you pronounce his last name. I want to go over that case. I think that's fascinating. There's a lot of stuff that remains from that. And I want you to see the breakdown here and how it comes together, from the protective order all the way forward. By the way, if you enjoy the live stream, make sure to like, make sure to be subscribed, share this sucker everywhere. And if you enjoy the product, you can super chat to back it, because I'm sure they like to demonetize them. So, I gotta make that cheddar so I can afford my music making addiction. I never thought I'd have like 5 AI freaking programs making music. It's kind of crazy. Now, what I want to look at first is I want to look at restraining orders. I want to look at her restraining order, what she filed for. I want to look at his filing, aiming back. And then I want to look at her deposition, or declaration, rather. Because I think, like I said, I think it's kind of fascinating to look at all these documents in retrospect to the alleged stuff. Now, I'm not going to start at the very top of the document, because it does have, even though it's outmoded information, it still has addresses and whatnot. So I will scroll down a little bit. But all of this, again, these are public documents. So I'm not showing anything that is not public, Give me a second here. Let's blow that up. Let's set the screen to awesome. And here we go. So this, you can see how this is set up. This is a request for a DVRO. She's filing that, saying that they used to date, or used to be engaged, to be married. You can see how it's checked out, how what was the relationship there. Were there any other restraining orders? No, there was nothing there. What do they want? They want personal conduct orders. I asked the court to order the person not to do the following, or to anyone listed. I want them not to harass, attack, strike, threaten, assault, essay, or otherwise, hit, follow, stalk, molest, personally, or destroy personal property, disturb the peace, keep under surveillance, impersonate, or block movements. And I also don't want them to contact, either directly or indirectly, in any way, including but not limited to by phone, mail, email, or any other electronic means. She asked for a stay away order of 100 yards From you can see, not in school, I guess, no kids. Interestingly, no mouth babies at the time, so nothing keeping that away. Nope, me, my job, my workplace, Do they own guns? Nah, not sure. Care of animals. I asked for sole possession, care, or control of the animals listed below. I asked the court to order the person to stay at least 3 yards away. So they're asking for Buttons. Buttons? Who is a toy poodle? She's like, give me the toy poodle. It's very old. It's blind. It has no teeth. Its tongue is permanently out at night. Man, this dog sounds like it's got oh, man, I don't know, man. Some of the things I've read with her, I don't know if I want my tongue out all the time. You end up pregnant in that household. That poor dog. It's like the dog gets having twins. I asked for the animals because he does not own the dog with me. However, he is threatened to, quote unquote, punt him and has expressed his hatred of the dog repeatedly. Let's see. What's a batterer intervention program as well? Yeah, Buttons, I know. Let's describe the abuse. Now, again, we're in the Wayback Machine. So, this is one of our first of, there are actually a few cases that are listed. You can actually find all of the documentation if you're curious about that, by the way. You can go over for justiceforclayton.com/wiki. They have the wiki there, and it has pretty much all the court documents that you want to see linked to it. So it's actually pretty convenient. So, date of most recent abuse. 01/07/2018. Who was there? Me, his sister, and it was in public. Described how the person abused you or your children. After a year of abuse, the relationship ended. Since then, he told me he had moved to Sacramento. It looked like an A with a little period there. Sacramento. However, he has shown up at multiple venues that he knows I will be at. Restaurants with my family and friends, and in front of the building. On Friday, I guess that's supposed to be 9th. It's cut off with a copy. He walked into a restaurant he knew I was at, lingered in front of my table where I was eating with a friend, and left after 5 to 10 minutes. On the 7th, maybe that isn't the 9th. It looks like a G, actually. Friday the G. Okay. I don't know. Maybe it's a 5. Because here's the 7th. On the 7th, he and his sister came up to me less than a block from my home. When she writes home, it looks like whore. Does it not? I thought because when I read ahead, I was like, why does that say whore? It does look like it, doesn't it? Accused me out. Accused me out? Accused me out. What does that mean? No, it maybe cuss me out. I see it. Never mind. There's the little, I thought that was where she blotted that out. Cussed me out, my bad, and refused to allow me to call the police. I was able to get away, but I was terrified. Did he use a weapon, like a gun or anything? No. Describe your injuries. My injuries were emotional, Your Honor. That includes extreme stress, panic attack, or concern for my personal safety. I know what he's capable of, and I don't know when or where he will show up next. I've been afraid to leave my home. Did the police come? Nay. Has the person abused you other times? Says, yep, back in 2016. plane passengers. Me, Michael, Karen, and other plane passengers. Wait, what? Okay. Michael and I were on a flight to Iceland. He was emotionally abusive to me throughout the flight, telling me how worthless I was as a person and having me in tears for most of the 8 hours. Or the 8-hour flight. Can you imagine that, by the way? Can you imagine how horrible it would be to deal with that flight? Like, you've seen the video of the, oh my God, that's so horrible. Can you imagine how horrible? I'd be like, oh God, please. I mean, like, if I, here's a question. If I put on a Pope outfit and I try to fly, do you think I could? I can fly. Take my chances on the outside of the plane. I mean, really, Lord. When he went to the bathroom toward the end of the flight, a passenger in the seat in front of me slipped me a note on a napkin. I will bring it to the hearing. She included her contact info. And is there a sheet attached to this? And I guess there's more. And said I was being abused by a sick man and needed to run and seek protection from him. Maybe she was saying to jump off the plane. You need to run. You're like, ma'am, I'm on a flight here. No, you need to run. I don't know anything about their relationship either. Here's the problem too with stuff like this. You've seen one relationship and how it is, and you can't believe anything this person says after that. You know? So, I mean, just to be honest, you've seen the willingness, and we've seen some of the text messages and stuff. Now, text messages, they don't give you a feel for how everything goes either. You know, people, I don't, like for me, for example, I don't document negatives about people typically in text, not very often. You know what I mean? If there was something negative going on, like arguments or anything like that, I'm not one to document. That being said, her text message are a tad different because you'll see what he ended up putting in as rebuttals. You know, with the father being like, hey, you need to stick with her because otherwise, you know, she's going to melt down and all that. So, did he threaten you with a gun? I hope not on a plane. Did he threaten you with a weapon? Yes, he had a spork. I mean, Your Honor, it's especially traumatic because it's a spoon and a fork. You'd be like, oh my God. I never realized how dangerous they are. That's what I'm gonna rob a bank with a spork. I'll be like, yes, it's a spoon and a fork. Fear me. Describe any injuries. His treatment had me feeling so low about myself that I became suicidal. And the note from the stranger was something I read to remind myself that I was still beautiful in someone's eyes. Since he made me feel so unworthy. It didn't say you were beautiful, though. It didn't say anything about being beautiful, did it? I mean, we don't have the note. Maybe it's attached down here or something. I don't know. I mean, I haven't looked ahead. You know, I wanted to talk about this stuff live, but it doesn't say. It just says, "Oh, there's a sick man." It doesn't say, "Oh, you're beautiful." I am beautiful, no matter what you say. My twins are in my throat. That's as high as I can sing. I can't do it very well. It's terrible. Next time I do that, I don't issue trigger warnings, but I'll give you one next time. Trigger warning. We'll speak. We'll sing. Other persons to be protected. He knows my family's address. Told me on 1718 that he quote unquote hates them. Has a key to my father's work that he won't give back. My dad has been a talk show host on KGO. Is that what her dad does? I've never actually looked. I didn't know where all that money came from. Is that what it was, though? Is he like a popular talk show host? Is that what it is? What does he talk about? You know? I mean, is he just like a DJ? I mean, can you imagine? I'm curious exactly what would be there. He was a radio host. So he's just like a show host? Is that all it is? I mean, because this seems like the kind of stuff you would call into a radio show. Hey, have you heard about the mouth babies? Yeah. I mean, just to say, for 42 years, he has been using his association with him to get into restaurants and his club, and has threatened to go public about my suicidal thoughts, an effort to harm my dad's image. That would not harm your dad's image, by the way. If you have mental health issues, you have suicidal ideation, how in the world does that hurt someone's image? If you're saying that they are the cause of it, but if you're just saying, as a catch-all, your kid suffers from, I mean, how in the world is that harmful to someone's image? My dad has cancer, heart valve infections, Parkinson's for 16 years, and is very weak. Given his abuse of me, I do not know if he would harm him or other family members. I'm confused here. Okay, so she puts in, okay, for the other instance is of abuse, she goes back 2 years, to rewind. She doesn't like list footnotes of other dates here. Now, maybe there are other dates that I haven't seen yet, but here's some. Describe how the person abused you. He began to choke me in January 2017. Oh, this was on the Iceland. Our trip to Iceland, and it continued until we last physically engaged with each other. Last physically engaged. That's a nice way of saying, we did the bareback porpoise. Like, what does that even mean? We did the Levy County tortoise, I laid on my back like I was dead, and then I disappeared. That's terrible. That's how why the fuck I said that. That's terrible. That's a new position, everybody. The Levy County freaking tortoise. Oh no. Oh no. Man. Oh my God. You could come up with all kinds of like a Kama Sutra for that place. Yeah. Oh my God. The get away from the window, John. That's a new position. That describes itself, Oh my God. Anyway, he choked me while we were intimate, although I begged him to stop every time. So every time they knocked boots, they got a little frisky. They had their own thing, which, do whatever you want in the privacy of your own thing. And she's like, he would choke me, but I would tell him to stop, but we would do it again and again. It's like, well, okay. Okay. Since our relationship hadn't had choking in it for the first 6 months we were together, I was shocked that this started, and he kept telling me he wouldn't do it again. However, He did it on every occasion and told me he wanted to be in complete control of me and liked the ability to control my breath. Actually, he was not choking you. He was limiting your breathing because he understood that if you suddenly gasp in air that you might get pregnant. That's actually, it's a form of birth control. That's what I understand here. It's not actually choking. Like I said, it's kind of like a prophylactic, It's like, no, hold your breath. Hold your breath. I'll tell him not to every time. On three occasions, he used a pillow over my face. Oh, the jokes. So on one occasion, I passed out for a few seconds. He was a foot taller than me, and I could not breathe. Why does it have any? Why does it? See, this is the go-to from anyone that accuses a man. He's bigger than me. Always. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. But it's always brought up. How could I be menacing? I mean, sure, I hit him with a frying pan, but I'm a hobbit. I mean, I'm the size of a lawn gnome. And look at him. I mean, his granddaddy was Goliath in that biblical story. It's like, no, like totally. He was 17 feet tall. He towered over me. I could not breathe, let alone scream for help. No, you were passed out. How would you scream for help if you were up? I don't understand. I don't even know how the height came in, but if you can't breathe and you pass out, how could you don't overthink it. Don't overthink that. I was terrified afterwards. I told my friends, family, and doctors about the abuse immediately. However, I was advised not to file a report at the time with the police because he had a very hair-trigger temper. And my advisors did not know if he would take it one step further if the police got him. What? So you're every time you knock boots, you get a little of the choking love. And you told everybody about it. And your quote-unquote advisor said, don't tell anybody about it because he might kill you. What? I mean, if you're afraid somebody's going to murder you, what kind of friend is like, just stick it out? I mean, what kind of, especially, okay, I don't believe this part of it at all. And I'll tell you why. Because doctors are mandated reporters. And if doctors thought that there was not only abuse, but continual abuse that puts you in danger where you could die, they're obligated under the law to report that. So when you're saying, I told doctors about it and they said, no, doctors could not answer that again. They thought your life was in jeopardy, therefore. No way. He told me on several occasions that he worried he would be blamed if I was found dead. Yeah, that's actually a worry that any intimate partner, I mean, she's afraid that he's going to tell the world about her suicidal ideation. So she's talking about ending herself. I mean, I don't know how it comes up in conversation, but I could see many ways that door, if you did something like again. Describe any, did he use guns? Oh, he used those guns that are attached to his arms, his biceps. He used these guns, flex. You're like, no, just his hands. Describe any injuries. I came to my parents' house on many of those occasions with spots under my eyes and on my face from a lack of oxygen during choking. Spots under my eyes? What? I don't think, I mean, maybe a little bit of bruise in there and stuff, but spots under your eyes because of lack of oxygen. I mean, and she said only once that she noted that she passed out. So, this is, again, we're not talking the extremes of loss of consciousness, except one time, she says, but she's saying on numerous occasions, this caused spots under her eyes, which that's not going to happen that way. I mean, the light rough stuff is not going to do that to you. I've been treated for PTSD since his abuse started and continue to be treated for it. I have insomnia, nightmares about it that lead to night sweats and panic attacks. Night sweats. You know that most people that suffer from trauma, they don't report night sweats first. That's actually kind of odd. I'm not saying that they don't report night sweats, but when you think about this, like any of you that have even if you've never had a panic attack or anything else, you think about when the panic, fight or flight kicks in, right? You think about how your body reacts. Like, what do you think about right then? You think about the constriction, breathing. You think about, again, the heart, the elevation there. I mean, when you're talking about like night disturbances, you think about nightmares. I mean, I've had very few people like put in as one of their main descriptors night sweats. It's kind of different. I'm just noting that is, again, I'm not saying that does not happen. It does. I just find that kind of interesting that that's put in as one of the main descriptors. Law enforcement come? No. Here's another one. Oh man, here, the podcast, check it out. The podcast audience and various friends, they were witnesses. So the whole podcast audience actually heard it there. This was the last encounter. Mike is a pathological liar and told me and my family many lies while we got to know him, like how he had dated Aaron Rodgers' sister for a few months, only to find out she did not exist. Now, if you don't know Aaron Rodgers, we're talking about an NFL quarterback. I'm sure most people know who we're talking about. Green Bay, went to the Jets. Sat out all last year, blah, blah, blah. We're talking about big name. They're just strange to, that's just very random. Dated a star from Modern Family, but didn't remember who. On 017-2018, he told me it was Sarah Hyland. Who is that? I gotta look that up for some. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna look that up. I don't know. I can't put the name to a face. Sarah Hyland. This was in 2018. No, okay. I had to look who she was up. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I get a little bit of that. Gotta know. Hey, what's up, Maria Rye? By the way, thanks for the. It's not choking. It's birth control. Beat me to it. Yep, that's what I was thinking. It's contraception. Emma, thanks for the 5. You can get broken blood vessels in your face from choking. Look like little spots. Vomiting causes it sometimes too. Yeah, they're talking about like light. I mean, again, this is to the point. She's saying she doesn't go unconscious or anything. So I mean, the lack of blood flow. I mean, it sounds like they have, light fun and games, you know? Sarah Hyland, it was not. This was a complete fabrication. He told me many other lies during his time with me. And by the way, thank you. I do appreciate that too. And many in front of my friends. He tried out to be a co-host for a podcast for KGO, where he stated that he was, quote unquote, a VP of several Fortune 500 companies. This is what she's putting on as the part of abuse. So she put in the part of abused you as he lied about who he was. So if you've ever put in an application to a company and you were dating at the time, that was, and you lied, you were like, I'm going to embellish a little bit. Nope, that's abuse. That's abuse of your significant other. Wait, what? I'm confused. Make it make sense. The Rahama, thanks for the two there. Maybe he used a pillow because she was a screamer. Maybe he used a pillow because he just didn't want to look or listen. I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to be ugly about it. Again, I'm not trying to get into, I try not to talk about how people look or anything. And again, we're all different, I mean, we all are. Now, if somebody makes fun of me, it's all on the line. I'll talk about whatever I want. But I do have to say, if her highly emotional times come off like that video we saw where she was like, I mean, I just, no, I wouldn't need that. I would need a barrier. I would have to go to my happy place. In Fight Club where like he goes to the that ice cave in his mind. Where he's like a penguin, he's like slide. I'd have to go to my ice cave. I'd be like, oh, slide. Which he never was. He was in a Fortune 500 company VP, several of them. And it's easily provable when the podcast ended up being taken off of KGO website due to his blatant lies about his background that would damage the station's reputation. Are you fucking kidding me? If he didn't name a company, that's gonna hurt the reputation. Are you kidding me? Yeah. It's so nasty how that, oh, yeah, that's going to damage this place's reputation. I'm sure like there are many other things that could damage it. And I'm sure like embellishing about the fact that, assuming this happened, assuming it did. I mean, holy crap. That is the word. That is the biggest nothing burger of a lie that I've ever heard. Oh, yeah. I was the CEO of a Fortune 5. I mean, oh my God. Hey, did you hear about that time that I was the Fortune 500 CEO, by the way? Did you know that? I actually run several companies. Oh no, they're going to take it down. It's an embarrassment. Oh my God, so dumb. I've saved a copy of him saying this in his voice. How is this abuse? Why is this in a restraining order? Like, what the fuck does this have to do with anything? The police are like, yes, you called us about abuse. What happened? Well, on a podcast, my significant other said he was a CEO of a company and he dated Aaron Rodgers' sister. He lied. What the shit? That's so good. Man. Anyway. I see. His voice. When I was in an accident as a passenger in an Uber, April 2017, he repeatedly told me I needed to fake injuries in order to get a bigger insurance payout. Oh my God. She's like, he tried to talk me into doing insurance fraud. Oh my God. I mean, what the fuck? You know that accusations are a fucking nothing burger when you start throwing things like this in. You know what I mean? Like when you're like, I was totally in a wreck. And he told me that since he said I'm a bigger wreck than I claim, and I should tell the insurance company that. And I was like, totally no. What does that mean? He said he helped a past girlfriend do that and strongly encouraged me to do the same. Oh my God. She's trying to get revenge by throwing him and some prior girlfriend under the bus, by the way, too, who had, oh my Lord. Hey, what's up, Mistrust? Thanks for the two. Was trying to make a case for narcissism. Yeah, that's like a word. Yeah, it's interesting. Since that's not a clinical word, I'm just noting this. Since that's not a clinical word, I don't use narcissist like hardly at all. These days, you'll hear that used in association with again, I'm not diagnosing her in any way, nor am I saying this as a diagnosis. I'm not saying she has been diagnosed with anything, nor am I remote diagnosing. Just making that very clear before I say what I'm going to say. In this day and age, if somebody were to give her a diagnosis, they would more than likely, if they were going to give her a diagnosis that was truly reflective of behavior, many diagnosticians will not give this diagnosis, by the way, but if they were to give her one that reflected that, they would say BPD. And again, if you have BPD, I'm not saying that about you. It's a catch-all. Unfortunately, there are many behaviors that are, that's the problem with diagnosis, period. Diagnosis is a checkbox, but the worst of the worst, yeah, they end up diagnosed with BPD because you can't just say this is a terrible person. Nope. It has to be diagnosable. As it was, I was injured, but I would never dream of committing fraud. And this seems totally right to him because, as I said, I could use a big settlement to be a great sugar mama for him. he totally wanted to be my boy toy. So it sounds like he made a joke about that, or maybe he didn't. Maybe he was like, "Yo, take him to the wash." I mean, okay. I got no love for insurance company. I don't give a fuck about that. But more than that, this is again, how did he abuse you? He told people that he dated people he didn't. He went on a radio show and said this, and he told me I should commit insurance fraud because he wanted me to be a sugar mama. Oh, shit. How did that injure her? Extensive emotional damage. Extensive. I fell for a person who claimed to be someone they are not. My reputation as a developing talk show host. Is that how she ended up in TED Talks, by the way, because of her dad? That makes a lot more sense now. I'd always wondered how she ended up with TED Talk. So is that really, is that how she ended up with that, though? Because like I said, I always wondered about that. I wondered, like, where did that connection come from? Because again, typically when you listen to somebody with a TED Talk, they have something they're either at least somewhat known. I'm not saying everybody's a big name out there, but they're known for something. But then you think, Laura, who the fuck is that? Like when that came up, I kept thinking, how the hell did that happen? TEDx, my bad. TEDx. I said TED Talk, TEDx. But how did that happen? Yeah, I mean, to a point, but it got spread around. She didn't just do it at TEDx. When I started looking around, it was all over the place. Her TEDx. It wasn't just like she put it together, but it was searchable. It was fine, like she was somebody. And again, this goes against her whole argument. By the way, her lawyer keeps arguing again and again that she is not a public figure. Now, she is a limited purpose public figure, the same as me or anyone else. Right? It's just kind of funny. But my reputation is a developing talk show host for, does that say, is it supposed to be cumulus? It looks like cumulus. That is a very bad way. Maybe you should finish that. Oh, maybe you should finish that because that looks really bad there. It was funny. Somebody wrote me a letter about the Pond Scum Posse. And, for scum, they left off the S. I was like, pond what now? I was like, that's a heck of a typo. Oops. Okay, I was the host for Cumulus Media, who have been extremely damaged by associating myself with someone who so blatantly lied about his employment background. Luckily, someone took it down after looking it up when it sounded suspicious. It has been hard to trust people since. He lied about his background, and oh my God, what a I mean, again, she put this as extensive emotional abuse because it damaged her career because he supposedly lied about running a Fortune 5. I swear to God. Let's see. Okay, so that's this one. Now he answers this. Okay, wait. Let me make sure there's no more pages stuck down. Just give me a second, because I know there'll be addresses and shit attached. Let me check real quick. I'm looking over it. One second. Okay. Yeah, there's just the lawyerese afterwards, so that doesn't really matter. Okay. Now I'm gonna pull up his. I'm gonna pull up his filing. Responding to. Give me 1 second here. I'm rolling through. Now, of course, he's going to check. I do not agree with for quite a bit of that, right? But then you're going to get for the reasons that I don't agree. And that's where I'm going to. Okay, so let's get to that part here. There we go. Hey, what's up, Debbie, by the way? Thanks for the 2. Serial victim, but the alleged perps suffer. Yeah, that's the problem with this stuff. People need to understand that this is abuse. I mean, this person is an abuser. You've seen their willingness to go in and make an absolute mess of other people's lives and to utilize the oh yeah, by the way, I watched a show today. I just want to note this. I watched a show that was I'm not recommending this show, okay, but it dealt with a serial stalker, and it reminds me of some of the stuff that we see out of here. I watched the Netflix show called Baby Reindeer, and it is based on a true story. It's about a female stalker, and it's wild. The real story reminds me again of some of the people like these we see. The real woman, she sent the person she was stalking, listen to this, 41,071 emails. 41,000 emails, 744 tweets, 106 pages of letters. Not 106 letters, 106 pages of letters, and 350 hours of voicemail. I mean, that's wild. I can't. That's a rough watch, by the way. Very rough watch, because there's essay and all kinds of stuff in that. It's, like I said, it's a rough watch. The first couple of episodes, when they keep on the stalker part, but it does highlight Melvin, which was kind of strange to see. But anyway, this is the response to that restraining order. So, for approximately 8 to 9 months, from April 2016 to March 2017, I was involved in a dating relationship with Petitioner. During that time, Petitioner wanted a far more committed relationship than I was interested in. The allegations that she made are total fabrication from a young woman who has threatened suicide multiple times, been hospitalized for depression, and been on anxiety/depression medication. For the sake of her mental and emotional stability, I tried to work things out with her and have a friendship, but she had been continued to be focused on having a permanent relationship with me I did not want. That sounds like, again, the allegations we've seen, with dating contracts. Be with me and I'll get rid of it. Yeah, it kind of makes you want to look at this stuff in a new light, As shown in attachment 1, text messages between the petitioner's mother and myself. Petitioner has suffered from emotional issues that necessitate her placement in an inpatient facility, followed by outpatient treatment and multiple medications. Now, attachment 2, text messages between the petitioner's father, myself. He also acknowledges her mental and emotional instability. In a text message dated 2016, he told me, please call Laura and promise her anything. She wants to keep her alive, and I promise to help you get out of it as soon as she's safe. Please now. That's crazy. I promise to get you out of it later. We'll look at those in just a second. I mean, that's crazy. Promise her anything, because she's threatening to, to end herself. And again, I'm not taking that subject lightly. Here's the issue, though. People will leverage threats like that to keep you in situations where, again, they'll go through stuff like this. They'll threaten you. They'll threaten to falsely accuse you of stuff. Then they'll threaten to end themselves. And finally, when you make good and you finally get away from these very toxic people, they make good on their threats. So that's what they do. We've seen that happen many, many times. Again, I'm not saying in this situation, I'm saying that when you look at the text messages, yeah, it looks very messed up. And her allegations, again, of abuse, her allegations were, he was mean to me on a plane trip. Oh, I got a kid coming here. Just a second. What are you doing? Hey, I hear you way up there. Hey, come here. What you doing? I heard her open the door. Give me a second. Oh, you want me to turn your tablet on?
Yeah.
You want me to unlock it?
It's a little bit safe. Half safe.
Yeah, you got it. You better go plug it up just a little bit longer, though, to keep it going. Are you glad to have it back?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, here's your gun. Hey. Hey. Don't mess with my poster there. Here, take that.
It looks cute, though.
No. Oh, my poster looks cute?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? my thing poster is cute? Hey, do you want to say hi real fast?
Hi, I have an iPad.
Yeah, you got your iPad?
And I play games on it.
Yeah, you got your games. You got your kids' games on your stuff. Shit, this is a kid's Kindle. Right? You love it?
Yeah.
You gonna play some Paw Patrol games or something?
I have some Baby Shark games.
I know you got a bunch, don't you? All right, take it upstairs, baby. Go.
Oh.
Love you. Love you.
Love you too. There's a dog in my hair.
Huh?
There's a dog.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll brush your hair out after. Remind me after this. I'll brush your hair out again. Okay. Hey, will you close that door when you go up there too?
Okay.
All right. Thank you, baby. She's funny. She's got a kid's Kindle. You know, it's an iPad. Everything's an iPad. She's like, I got my iPad, Dad. I'm like, okay, okay. But she was looking at it. I have behind me, and so I don't have it hanging on the wall. I just have it sitting against. There's a beam down here, and I have one of my favorite movies ever. And I saw it when I was little. I love horror movies. I have an original Thing poster. You know, from The Thing. I have it sitting behind me, just propped up. And I love it. I like to be able to see it. That's why I have it sitting there. And she's like, that's cute. I was like, yeah. I think many things about The Thing. I don't usually, well, maybe I do think it's cute, but touche. Touche. All right, so part 3. Additionally, the text from petitioner to my sister in December 2016 showed petitioner as a person consumed with her love for me and her desire to make a relationship work. I ended the relationship and wanted to move on with my life. Now, again, I'll look at the context of that. You know, oftentimes, I'm not saying text will relate a relationship. You know, people put on fronts, but the messages from the parents, that's what intrigues me. You know, that's the kind of thing that I think, makes you go, you know what I mean? Sandra, by the way, thanks for too. Like you, I started reading her court cases. What the? I know, indeed, man. That's what somebody emailed me and mentioned this, and I was like, you know, I really do want to go back and look at these other cases that she's been involved in. I kind of want to read through all the stuff that happened with those, you know, to make sense of it all. I gotta understand the whole thing. What's up, Subi Sue? By the way, thanks for the 10 there. Candy Money. Thank you. Much love, Tug and the girls. Indeed, thank you too. Candy Money. We gotta keep them in that Candace. All right, so I ended the relationship, wanted to move on. Regarding her specific claims, I was leaving a restaurant with my sister, which was 300 feet from my sister's apartment. So they're quite literally by the sister's apartment, according to this. You know, avoiding a place like that, yeah. Who would be the person that's popping up there? I mean, if you live near it, and I don't know where she lives, but yeah, I might say that's a little like her on my turf, you know, not me on her turf, maybe. I'm just wondering. What's up, John, by the way? Thanks for the 20 there. I'm so sick of YouTube's BS. Lately, all my comments get deleted. All factual, no shit posts. I'm convinced I'm on a list whenever I respond to a political video or whatever. Oh, political videos, dude. Right now, politics, it's, you know, you've got election stuff coming up. On top of that, you know, you have the war hawking that's going on. And yeah, I mean, comments, it doesn't matter if it's factual or not. There's going to be a lot of them. You know, now they hold a lot of comments. One of the things, like, I used to go through and approve comments on the channel, but over a month, you know, sometimes they would hold, like, depending on how busy it is, when in the middle of the depth trial, the busiest time there, they held almost, I think, 60,000 comments at one time. I was like, oh my God, I can't go through 60, because they won't populate them one at a time. They populate them in clumps. I was like, I can't go through 60,000 comments, you know? So, you know, for the channel, I mean, there's no fix to that, you know, and it does suck. Sandra, also thanks for the 10 there. How can anyone believe her when the pattern is the same every time? A breakup followed by claims of pregnancy. It's not the first time for twins. Accusations of DV or SV lawsuit. You would think that's why her winning this case that she's involved in right now is so important for her. It isn't just an ego thing. It's probably a heavy financial consideration. Because if she ends up losing, I mean, it could have significant ramifications. So, let's see. When we were exiting, petitioner was outside and immediately confronted us, calling me a liar, an arpist, and a thief. I asked her to leave me alone and to stay out of my life, but she kept arguing. Following this encounter, she wrote my present girlfriend and made accusations about me. Since before we dated, petitioner has been taking multiple medications for depression and anxiety. The texts and all the attachments confirm this. Toward the end of the relationship, told me she would take horse tranquilizers to calm down. Is she like, I'm on the PCP? Is that what you're telling me? Actually, it's fascinating because there's been so much talk about pregnancy and the potential for, horse medication and other items. And you have him mentioning horse medication. So I don't know. I find that to be rather fascinating to see brought up, What's up, Zoo? Thanks for the 5. Tug sounds like Matthew McConaughey. All right. all right. all right. Man, if I did, that would be the biggest compliment. Matthew McConaughey sounds smooth as butter. I love listening to McConaughey. He has a great voice. He's Texan though. We're Tennessean, so wow. But Matthew McConaughey sounds great. So that is a very big compliment. Appreciate that. John, thanks for the 10. When I was a kid, scientists were saying that we were causing a new ice age. Smog was going to block out the sun, reach a tipping point, lower temperatures. Anytime I say this, it's deleted. Yeah. There's certain talking items. You can't even just talk about, hey, when I was young. Yeah, I understand that. On this platform, I wanted Rumble to be the platform. I had a bad instance with the Rumble, and it never got fixed. They never did anything with it at all, and it just turned me off so much, because they're the free speech platform. Well, I had a guy who was talking about a case, and I uploaded something to Locals, which is part of Rumble, and he put in a fake copyright claim. As it's being part of a case, it's and it's being public, I can repost whatever I want. And they took it down. They messaged me and told me they took it down, and there was they didn't even pretend to give me an idea that I could dispute it in. I mean, just anyway, no method or anything else. And I finally got a hold of somebody, and I wrote them and talked about it, and they were like, oh, well, that's terrible. And they never fixed it. They never did anything with it. They're just like, that's terrible. And I was like, man, going forward, if this is going to be your free speech platform, that's a problem. If you're big enough, that would be a problem. But I guess I wasn't big enough to get noticed. It just turned me off big time. So here's the text message. The first one. This would be attachment 1. This is between the mother and the respondent. Hey, Mike, it's Jan. I got this text from Laura, who asked me to contact you and ask if you will give her another chance. She is terribly upset and feels you played her like a fool. I have to admit that Ron and I both believed you at the North Beach restaurant when you said you were taking responsibility for the pregnancy and that the timing was wrong. There's another pregnancy. You see it being mentioned there. I can see I can see how she didn't think you were lying and didn't intend to end the relationship when the pregnancy was over. Please read the text she wrote and consider giving her another chance. Here's the text. Mike recently made the comment to me that he would have said anything in the world to get out of having a child, that he agreed to whatever just to not have to have it. This has been weighing on me like a ton of bricks lately, and I absolutely can't live with myself anymore. She's saying she did another dating contract. And she's saying that's what that sounds like, right? Am I reading that correctly? She's saying, well, he agreed that he would stay in the relationship. He said he would do anything. And now it's all weighing on me. It's horrible to use, it's horrible. The reality of it. Okay, let's just say there was a real babies continually. That is a terrible bartering chip, by the way. You will continue to stay in a relationship with me, or I'll have the baby. It's like, what? That's terrible. It's a horrible, horrible thing. When you think about that, that's horrible on so many different levels. Because, you're using a baby in there, or the idea of a baby, using an abortion in that as a manipulation tool. That's messed up. So you're using pregnancy in that. You're saying, essentially, you will stay with me or I will own you and you will never get rid of me for the next at least 18 years. You'll never be able to get rid of me. So no matter what, I own you. I own you. That's horrifically manipulative. What's up, Sandra? Thank you for the 5 there, too. One more. Something for the little one. Candy fun. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for backing. Thank all of you for being here, too. I popped up with this. I appreciate, all of you that have kept up with this. Again, this is a case that needs more eyes, that needs more people looking at it. It has gotten more attention, which is good. I hope that the more people that pay attention, that they can maybe snowball this into not only the consciousness of the average person out there, but also it takes the weight off of people like Dave Neal. See, Dave, I know that this stuff weighs on that man, and I hate it for him. I know he wears it. He's still. It costs him, he's talking about, well, if I didn't cover it, I couldn't sleep at night. It reminds me of this song called The Background Noise, Yeah, everything's great. I've got all this great stuff, but there's something that keeps me up at night. It's the background noise. And it's like, yeah, that becomes the background noise. It costs you. There's just something there. You can't ignore it. And when you're like, Dave, you are the person that is going to be blamed. Laura, the way that she approaches this stuff anyway. If you think about it, she has to have someone to blame for everything. You see this is typical with folks like this. You see it from everyone from an Amber Heard. You see the behavior here. You see this illustrated over and over again. It's never that person's fault, ever. It's always someone else that's at fault. It doesn't matter what they've done. It doesn't matter if they're monstrous. It doesn't matter, if they've left things in ruin, if they're verbally or physically abusive. It doesn't matter what they brought to it. It's someone else that caused that. And they're going to blame the people in the relationship. But Dave, like, when you look at she expected a certain type of reaction. She expected applause from the media, which she pretty much got. But she expected that from everyone. Nobody can question what she's saying. When that happened, I mean, look what she's aimed at Dave Neal. So I hope more and more people pay attention, because it's necessary. Wow, that's hard to read there. Please let me know if you got this. Again, my words get misconstrued. I was 100% something with you. I think it says truthful with you. And Ron, when we talked at the restaurant, that one restaurant that was mentioned, I was supportive throughout the entire process. And when we were at Tony Robbins, I told her that if I didn't say that I was going to get married or have a child later on with you, you would have kept the child. Yeah, that's absolutely. So there it is. She replied with, "That's absolutely true." I never said that I was appeasing her at the time. I just told her that she always gives me an ultimatum, and I was tired of receiving the threats. I've been 100% honest throughout this entire process, and I'm still here today, months after the operation, even though I'm incredibly unhappy with where we stand. I've been at my breaking point for a long time and have been honest and truthful with her about is the rest of it on there? I've told her that this relationship is new. I can't read that. I can't read that word. And that I don't feel like I'm the right fit for her. Though she would disagree with me, we tried. Skipping some of that there. Never once asked for Iceland, nor did I know she had purchased it. She wanted it to be a surprise for me. Never asked me what I was doing over that period. I've already purchased a trip a year ago and was looking forward to, and canceled it because she made me feel guilty. So Iceland was a late relationship guilt trip after. Oh, got a kid. Give me 1 second. Hey, girl, what you doing?
Did you like your mat?
Huh?
Did you like your mat?
Did I what now?
Did you like your mat?
Did I watch my what?
No, you like your mat.
My mat?
The mat I gave you from church.
Oh, yeah, huh?
Do you love it?
Just quit watching the code. I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to see what numbers I'm typing in. I'm not telling you the code. I'm not telling you the code. Because if I tell you the code, you'll be all up in there trying to buy stuff. I know you. I know you. Like, please tell me the code. All right, take it upstairs. Hey, don't turn it up until you walk upstairs, okay? She let her tablet go to sleep. She had to bring it back. Then we give her the unlock thing. Because I keep that, I keep an eye on what's there. Death Angel, thanks for 18 months. Her father was a talk show host, KGO, making $1 million a year. Man, I wish I could get some gravy like that. Love you and your family. Love the best chat. Congratulations on the triplets. Thank you, all of you, for the major blessings for the baby. I appreciate those. God, so really, what we're being told here is it's just like what we saw with Echard. I mean, the relationship contract. If you continue to date me, I'll get rid of the baby. That's what it says here. I mean, it says that, I told her that if I didn't say that I was going to get married or have a child later on with you, you would have kept the child. And she said that was absolutely true. So later on, yeah, I plan on staying with you. Maybe we can stay, I mean, it's a broken relationship here. That's a nightmare scenario. I understand what you're saying, but could you please call her and be gentle and hear what she's saying? It would mean a lot to all of us. She wants you to forgive her for whatever she's done that's gotten you to this point. I told her that if she betters herself, that I would contemplate a future with her. She's again threatening to commit suicide. Did you go and see her today? She says she has been in her car for the last 4 hours. Did you call her? I'm still on the phone with her. God, that sounds miserable. So did you call her? I'm still on the phone. Okay, great. No, it's not great. She's threatening to kill herself and jump off a bridge. Well, we truly appreciate it. It's like, no, I'm in hell. Oh, it's terrible. That is emotional manipulation at its worst. Well, she doesn't have the leverage of the baby anymore, so she's threatening to off herself. It's terrible, man. Hey, what's up, Ray? Ray, thanks for the 8 there. Hey, Tug, sorry you can't stay. Baby Duty, yeah, indeed. Got some updates for you. Have y'all chat soon? Indeed, thank you, Ray. Appreciate you. Ray actually did have a little one. Well, he didn't have the little one, but you know what I mean. Congratulations to him. I mean, I know the baby's older now, but still, that's awesome. Another of the Umbrella fam. Versus Sear. Man went to jail for 5 years for not paying child support. DNA showed it was never his kid in the first place. Judge asked the wife, do you know who the father is? Yes, still talk to him. That's awful, man. That's awful, John. But it's not surprising. See, none of that is surprising. There are certain weapons that we know. Again, any individually, what we need societally is we need accountability on an individual basis. We don't need accountability for men, women. We need it for individuals. But you see how the justice system's broken in that. I mean, when you look at acts, okay, one of the main acts that you have quoted again and again is the Violence Against Women Act. So for me to get help for certain issues, or another man to get it falls under the violence. I mean, you see what there's a problem there. It shows you a specific mindset, and it just takes I mean, you see with Echard, you see this problem with paternity. I mean, people find that, and there are people out there that will say, well, this is just one of those highly, highly unusual cases. It doesn't matter if it is or isn't. I think there are a lot more cases. We don't know how many there are out there, but when you're talking about a relationship like this, IPV, we're talking in reports of 1 in 3 men. And there was a study of 13,000 reports that were made to the police. And in those where you have non-reciprocal violence, what you found was 70% of the non-reciprocal was female initiated. So there's a problem there. And it says, again, I'm not trying to say women or men, again, that's not the point. It's that anybody can go through this stuff. And you have people that will do terrible things, and then they'll flip the script however they can. And it's abuse. It's all fucking abuse. This is emotional abuse at its extreme. And you need to walk away from that. But if you try to walk away from the poison, the fake pregnancies, the threats, it's a playbook. What's up, John? John, thank you for the 10 gifted memberships, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man. Like I said, I appreciate all of you. Y'all, you know what I love about you folks? Like, I cover whatever I want. I can be as frequent or as infrequent with what I cover. And you folks, like, you y'all get together and we do things together. And I feel like we can do meaningful things. So I like that. I like the meaningful part. I think she'll be in a better mindset if she gets her medications adjusted, gets some rest, and gets off the gluten. Gets off that gluten. That's what that's what happened to me, by the way. That's how I actually, that's really what happened with the triplets. I got on the gluten again. I mean, I've been avoiding it. Then somebody doped me up with the gluten bread, and boom. I didn't realize the lasagna. Oh, the lasagna. The gluten's got me. I got pregnant. If you can calm her, we'd be eternally grateful. She is not acting like herself, and I'm certain it is because of the meds and the gluten and exhaustion. Oh my God. Hey, Mike, are you Laura? We haven't heard anything from you or her since last night. No, with my family in Sacramento. Did I get the correct report that she is heading home and you two are back together? She just called us, and Ron and I are looking up hospitals to meet her. I followed what Ron told me, and it's blurred all to hell. But yeah, you see there. Mike, we want to thank you so much for what you did for us and Laura this weekend. You saved her. You saved her. So the parents, I mean, it looks like they just buy into this. You saved her life. I will forever be grateful to you. She's getting treatment as an inpatient right now, and then will continue to be treated as an outpatient. They're going to change her medication. They put her on for an anxiety. We would love to take you out and thank you later this week or the following if you're available. Does that work? We also know this took a big toll on your family this weekend, and we would love to take everyone out to the house of prime rib this holiday season if your mom and sister in San Francisco. Oh, you saved her. You saved her. I mean, man. Sue, by the way, thank you for 15 months. Did we decide the names of the babies? I thought hashtag and something else. hashtag babies. Like, wait, one of them's named babies, two of them are named hashtag. No, one is a hashtag, one is like Prince. They just have a symbol, but the symbol is a hashtag. And the other one is whatever the hashtag's name was. What is that? Black Lover 64? I'm terrible with names. Seems like her family encourages, never said no. Yeah, and I mean, this puts you in a difficult spot as a parent. It's very difficult for me to look at this as a parent. I cannot imagine my child telling me that they're going to do X, Y, or Z, harm themselves. I mean, the desperation that would create. Again, I'm not taking up for their behavior. I'm just saying, as a parent, what a terrible place to be. The manipulation, and that's a thing too. See, when we look at this stuff, you can look at the parents two ways. Enablers, yes, but also, are they being victimized here too? Because, I mean, really, if we look at the boyfriends and we say the threats of suicide, I mean, that has its emotional impact. Man, for parents, my God, like I said, I'm not taking up for anything they do. I'm saying that's awful in and of itself. Heather, thanks for the two. How about Swallow, Gulp, and Chug? Solid names. That's hilarious. Swallow, Gulp, and Chug. So we can see a few words here. I'm glad Laura got treatment for a day, but she informed me she's checking out. So she went into treatment for 1 day after all of that, apparently, and checked herself out. she's still doesn't get that I have been with someone that is actually dying and wants to live another day, and yet she wants to end her life out of selfishness. The reason I'm writing you is to let you know that the statements I told Laura this weekend were logical and out of compassion. I was giving an ultimatum of, if we're not together, then I'm going to I was given an ultimatum of, if we're not together, I'm going to kill myself. Nobody ever wants to be given an ultimatum, especially when death is involved. Ron and I said, we need to do whatever we could to make sure you're okay. Let's see, to make sure your daughter came home safely. Yet you told her I was lying to her. I get being a mom, you want to protect your daughter, but I don't get why you do that when Laura was suicidal all weekend. Like I said, I understand you're a mother, but relaying that message caused an incredible amount of stress on me, and in turn, I took it out on my family. With all that being said, I appreciate your offer of dinner and include my family, but I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass there. I care, love, and appreciate, all of you. It's what it says, but, choice for her and may have compounded her feelings by increase today. Keeping all of you in our thoughts and prayers, Mike. Sorry for your loss. Is there anything we do? Thank you. There's a loss here. Okay, this is about her mom. I don't want to read that. Okay, so they're talking about her medications. So she's on Cymbalta. They increased her Cymbalta. I wonder what her dosage is. I mean, again, I get very interested in. Let's see. See, I wonder how high they. I think it wasn't a good idea, and it's made her anxious and upset. I mean, usually you can have a lot of, if you're faking symptoms and increasing medications like that, and again, if this is your way of dealing with relationships too, oh Lord. Please be kind and patient with her. It's all because of the drug and she hasn't eaten. What about the glutens? I understand that and been kind and patient. When she doesn't like an answer, she gets thoroughly upset. Yeah. So there's the, so they're talking about, turning down an offer because there's still problems. I say, I totally understand and feel very sorry for your family. I would just ask for your continued understanding and patience, as I feel strongly that her current state of mind and tearfulness is due to medication, which may not have been the right choice for her in the first place, and may have compounded her feelings by increase today. Good thoughts. Like I said, I'm skipping. Okay, so here's the father text there. But you can see, I mean, through that shows you a totally different picture of that relationship from an outside observer. She's telling her mother here that if he walks away, that she's going to kill herself. So her mother is writing. I mean, what a messed up. You have parents writing and being like, if you don't stay in this relationship, this will lead to the death of my daughter. Please stay here. I cannot imagine how horrible that is for him. So here's the father. Please call Laura and promise her anything she wants to keep her alive. And I promise to help you get out of it as soon as she's safe. Please, now. Promise her anything in the world. Lie to her. Please lie to her. Anything. She sends me voicemail every time. We're now telling her that by text, done. So, I mean, you see the pressure there. Please also remember she suffered a concussion last week, and between that and the pills, she's not herself. No excuses for these types of... I can't read that. Need to hear, lingering in the hospital. We're desperate to get a hold of her. Nothing yet. She said you're talking. Can you please respond to her? We need her back. He's like, Ron, I've done everything for you guys all day while my stepfather is dying. Like, that's fucked up. So here's what's happening there. You can get this through the messages. He's got an actual dying relative. And he says, we'll cling to life. See, this sickens me. My stepfather, who I loved very dearly, had a rarefied type of cancer. And over about a 6-year period, it was awful. It was just awful. He had so many surgeries, the extended life. And despite being in pain, despite going through everything, he grabbed onto every single day. Every single breath was precious. And I cannot imagine being there with him and in these last days, and having somebody like this try to manipulate the emotion out of me. Do you know how horrible that would be? Like, this would be a time when you would have like a significant other. You need someone to lean on. And like he said in his text, all of this, it made me take it out on my family there. So instead of, being there and dealing with this complex issue with other people that are dealing with it as well, you have this person exacerbating the issues. And he said he took it out on them. And that's horrible. He's like, while this is, and you don't have the decency to call me back. This is getting ridiculous. I feel like absolute shit reading your text. The dad replies, I'm so sorry. I had no idea that your stepfather was dying, and you're absolutely right. I didn't realize my ringer was off until now. I will call you tonight when she's safe back in San Fran. And thank you for sending flowers to my family. That means a lot, is the response back there. Okay, attachment 3. So this is the sister. That's awful. That's a fucking awful, man. That disgusts me. It disgusts me to read. I mean, you've seen doses up to 120. Yeah, I've seen some pretty high doses. I've worked in community mental health, with housing. I don't know. It depends. I guess it's probably different in different states. But here, we don't have institutions anymore. And since Tennessee was one of the states that was sued because of Clover Bottom, the whole Geraldo Rivera reveal all, when basically it blew the lid off of all of that. The report from Geraldo Rivera dealt with Clover Bottom. That was the mental institution here, the abuses that were going on. That's where they were filming in. And here you have housing. You have like privatized companies that work with the state. They have to have state approval. And, you have community-based housing. And some companies are very good. Some of them are very good. But when you see that, the point in that is the doses sometimes you see are pretty high, especially in the RTF, or the highest levels. They have different levels of care. They have like the highest, which is residential treatment. Then they have enhanced supportive. Then they have supportive, and then you're out on your own. But I've seen some pretty high doses of stuff in the RTFs when they're coming out of the hospitals. So let's see. Here's to the sister. He has mentioned that you both don't see eye to eye on being present in the moment and focus on the future. Frustrate him or cause unnecessary family drama. He pushes me away and hates turmoil. I really appreciate the advice. I've noticed that with him too. It's just been very hard day, and the more I try to do the right thing, the more I seem to do the wrong thing, even though that's obviously the opposite of my intention. I will listen to what you said and move forward. I'm sorry it's been a difficult day. Just take some deep breaths and now and know that's what they're supposed to be. That he cares about you and your well-being. Appreciate it. I genuinely want nothing more in my life than to work on my relationship with him, and I seem to keep messing it up. Hi, I just got my phone back for a couple of minutes tonight and wanted to say that I'm here for you if you ever want to talk about the depression stuff, because clearly I get it. I will be praying for you to feel better. That feeling is the worst. I also just want to reiterate my gratefulness and apologies to your family and your brother. My biggest goal is to come out of this the best possible partner for him, and would give him the world if I could. He truly deserves him, and I so treasure him and our relationship. I just need to show him that rather than only use the words all the time, he's my motivation, and you should be really proud to call him your brother. Hope everything's well. I got a little kid here too. Yes.
My apple slips.
Oh, you brought some apples? Oh, yeah, the Go-Gurts. Do you like these things?
Yeah, because they have different kinds
Oh,
on
really?
the back.
What kind is this? This is banana, huh? It's a banana one. Here, take it with you. Here, you want the lid?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, take it with you. Love you. Love you. That's funny. Okay. So you can see these are relationships. It's just talking about the relationship here. I'm just trying to see if there's anything that I've just effed up everything up with the person I care about the most. I just wish he understood and can support me while I've been struggling, rather than to seem so doubtful about my abilities. So even there, it's like, I did all this, but him, he's to blame. I mean, that's still blaming someone else. He's not supportive enough. I'm struggling, it's like, it's talking about, did you work it out? I'm just seeing if there's anything in here, because I don't want to, wait, okay. Did you work it out? I think so. He's definitely trying, and I am really taking what you said to heart. I think he and I are unfortunately very similar. When our buttons get pushed, we end up saying just about the worst things to each other we don't actually mean. Then I immediately regret it and want reassurance, but he needs time. I think I just need to accept him for every absolutely fantastic quality. Realize that what has caused our fights is largely social media, which you brought up, and it's really true. It doesn't matter at all. I was just sad that he didn't want me posting pictures together. But I totally believe what you said. So he didn't want the posting pictures of him and her. I mean, that's interesting. He's like, at the end of this, and my anxiety and depression, 100% what drugs I'm on for it are making it worse for me. So again, she's blaming the drugs too. If you're cognizant of you have the ability to control some of what you're doing. Again, some medication, yes, it can exacerbate issues for sure. But if you're cognizant of it, if you're looking at it and you have that, first of all, maybe it's not the medication, maybe it's you. Secondly, if you know you're doing it, then you can take steps not to aim at a person. But what do I know, right? What do I know? Hey, here's some baby names, by the way. Baguette. Breadstick is triplet names. That's funny. Here's some more. Droplet hashtag and the older brother hashtag. There could be one called hash, tag, and hashtag. There be it. Thank you, by the way, Zoo. Appreciate you for that. By the way, I just forgot to say that. And ADHD too. Thank you for that too. And John, thank you for the 5 there. I effing hate Geraldo. He nearly got the unit. He was embedded with Obliterated because he's an idiot. Oh yeah, actually, the stuff that they did in Clover. I mean, the worst part when they showcased all the problems in the mental health industry, they didn't even get near all the issues. So let's look at her deposition. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's look at her statements. Give me 1 second. I gotta pull them up here. So I said deposition. Her declaration. There's actually I say deposition a lot of times on accident. Which is something that she likes to dodge. But her declaration is a different thing. So here's her declaration. History of relationship. I'm just going to call him Mr. M. It's going to be easier than saying his whole name. Okay. So Mr. M and I were romantically involved from March 2016 to late fall 2017. Contrary to what he alleges in his declaration filed January 22nd, 2018, we did not stop dating until March 2017. I met Mr. M in March 2016 through The League, a dating app for professionals that matches people together based on their LinkedIn and Facebook profiles. His profile said that he was a real estate developer and he went to California Polytechnic Institute. He asked me out to dinner and I accepted. That's creepy. Look, she took exhibits. What does that fucking matter? That doesn't matter in any way, shape, or form. I mean, mine has declared me, I am tug of war. I'm one of the horsemen of the apocalypse. This, oh my God, he lied and it was damaging. He said that he was a sentient umbrella and that he was from the hat rack. It's like, whoa, oh my God. Initially, Mr. M was very charming. In the early months of our relationship, we saw each other often and seemed to have a lot in common. Mr. M showed interest in my career. I'm the CEO of Quartet Farms, a company that buys and sells show horses. You can tell you're playing with other people's money when you can do this kind of stuff, What's your qualification? Well, I have this thing where I spend other people's money on horses. Heather, thanks for the 2. The entire family needs massive help. It's culty. Yeah, it's like I said, I'm torn on I'm not making excuses for him again, but the manipulation, the family, like that. It's easy for me to sit here and to be like, they should just, be like, okay, call, we did this or that. But at the end of the day, if something terrible happened, if she were to follow through with a threat, like I said, as a parent, I couldn't. I don't think I could live with that. As a parent, I don't think I could. I don't think I could continue. I think it would destroy me. And where these parents are at, again, have they enabled her to this level? It shows very much so. It very much shows. But what a weird situation. They get victimized too. And that doesn't excuse their behavior in victimizing another person or helping her. But, the text messages seem, the urgency in the fathers. I mean, it's horrible. It's horrible on every level. And ultimately, the person that I know deserves blame is Laura Owens. But he talked about his own career ambitions. And thank you, too. Thank you. I do agree, though. It does sound, I don't know. I mean, real time, I don't know what I think about it right now. He said he was a real estate developer and he had his real estate license. He also frequently talked about his many job offers at big development firms. I wanted to be with someone who was career-oriented like I am and thought we were a good match. We talked about my love for animals and animal welfare. He claimed, which he also claimed to care deeply about. Like I said, I hate horses. I'm just going to put that out there. I'm horrified by horses. I always have since I was little. When I was a little kid, I told Megan this the other day. When I was a little kid, I read a Red Sonja comic book. Well, it was actually in the back of it was a Red Sonja story continued in a Conan comic book. But she ends up shipwrecked on an island. She finds all these beautiful horses. And, when she goes to see some of them, they turn evil. They're all trying to eat her. And as a kid, it horrified me. I was like, oh my God. And asked my dad about that. I was like, our horse is dangerous. And my dad, it was like, oh, well, their teeth, they aren't sharp, but they're like chainsaws, they can grind and they can rend. I was like, oh my God, that's terrible. It's terrible. He's like, they're also cannibals. They'll eat their own. They'll eat their own. Imagine what that did to you. It's hilarious, but it terrified me as a kid. I used to think horses ate their own as a little kid. Oh man. And then they could chew, they could go chainsawing you. Oh, let's see, where was I? He also often talked about his alleged relationship with celebrities. He liked that my father is a famous local talk show host. He was excited about the prospect of meeting celebrities. In or around late May or early June 2016, I was asleep when I was suddenly struck in the face by Mr. M. I don't know exactly how he struck me. It was either his elbow or fist hit me near my eye. I can't say for sure, but I believe he may have been asleep or involuntarily hit me. What the fuck? I was asleep and he struck me. Now, he could have been asleep and he rolled over and hit me in the face. It's like, wait a minute. That's not what you're describing there. Like the way you started out, it's one thing for somebody to come up and maliciously do something to you, like whack you in your sleep. It's another for them to roll over. This is a person that says that they suffer PTSD and they suffer like night terror type dream. Look at what they're describing. So they suffer terrible problems with their sleep, night sweats, insomnia, terrible dreams. So if you were suffering that, you might thrash around in your sleep. And again, I'm not saying she does. You'd all be made up. But if you did, you would think you'd have a little understanding of what it's like there. But I guess understanding, But I had a black eye for a day or two after this. One of my friends told me that one of his ex-girlfriends also woke up with a black eye because he accidentally hit her. I was asleep. So a friend told me, so I heard from a friend that an ex-girlfriend also was hit, quote unquote, accidentally. And so that's some bullshit to put in there. That's some garbage there. In June of 2016, Mr. M and I were out for a walk. While we were walking along the water, he grabbed me by my jacket and pushed me toward the water, acting like he was going to throw me in. I'd previously told him I don't know how to swim. Later during the walk, we were passing by some shrubs, and he used one of his hands to shove me into it. He did these things as jokes, but they felt somewhat aggressive. So he didn't push you in the water. He just pretended to. These are the kind of things too. Did you note that they bother you? Like for real? Like these are the things in the aftermath. It looks like grasping at straws. You know what I mean? Oh, he gave me a black eye when he was asleep because it was quote unquote accident. Oh, when we were walking, he pretended to shove me in water. He didn't shove me in the water, by the way. He just pretended to do that because he was joking. but it felt somewhat aggressive. It didn't feel aggressive. It felt somewhat aggressive. In June 2016, I found out that I was pregnant. I was very conflicted about whether to have the baby or terminate the pregnancy. I was diagnosed. We've heard about the polycystic ovary syndrome, which can cause infertility. That's why you start having mouth babies, I guess. I don't know. I was afraid I'd never get pregnant again, but also I did not necessarily feel ready to have a baby. I told Mr. M about the pregnancy, shared my feelings about terminating versus having the baby. Initially, he was supportive about giving me some time to think about it, but said he thought it would be best if I had an abortion. A day or two after I told him, he called me while on a trip with his friends and said he decided an abortion was the best option for us. When he came back from the trip, he told me if I had the baby, he would never want to meet the baby or be part of his or her life, and that he would hate me for going through the pregnancy. You see the spin. Like, we're seeing a different side of this, the way that it was reflected in conversation. It was ultimatums that we saw mentioned in the text messages, and we've seen the dating contract stuff. So isn't that strange, huh? I mean, it's such a fucked up spin there. He said if I had an abortion, it would prove to him that I was the type of girl he wanted to be with and would show him how I valued our relationship. He said he wanted a future together and could see us having kids down the road, but he wasn't ready to be a father yet. He promised to be there and support me after the abortion. One night, where'd he go? One night, June 2016, Mr. M and I had dinner with my parents and were discussing the pregnancy. They knew I was pregnant already. Even though I hadn't made my mind up yet, Mr. M told my parents that we decided to do the responsible thing and have an abortion. Mr. M pressured to make an appointment at Planned Parenthood for the abortion. When I couldn't do it fast enough, he scheduled it for me because I wanted to be with him and thought we could have a future together. And since I didn't want to bring a child into the world without a father, I decided to go through with abortion. July 2016, I terminated my pregnancy. So he's to blame for the abortion too. He's to blame. Like, she had no say in this. He promised X, Y, and Z. That's just like we've seen the way that this has been discussed. We've seen the dating contract allegations. We've seen the stuff that came out with that for Echard. It's like, yeah. But she seemed pretty casual about the watcher. Thanks for the find. They're old enough to step baby horses over a foot long, but scared to swim. Get the fuck off. Not only that, wasn't she jumping horses and stuff while she was quote unquote pregnant? High risk pregnancy and stuff. I think I saw somebody talking about that too. In the days following my abortion, I felt sad, started to feel immense guilt. I felt selfish for choosing my relationship with Mr. M over the baby. I grieved for the baby that would never be, started to feel depressed. Over several occasions, when I started to talk with Mr. M about how I felt, he got angry and lost his temper. He'd scream at me, and his face would turn bright red. He'd ball his fists and pump them at his side while pacing around. I was afraid of this side of him, which I hadn't seen before. Okay, so there's still no violence. That's interesting. He's abusive and he's a monster. But all we've gotten is I had an abortion. He made fake promises to me, which, again, I don't think that fits with what we saw demonstrated there. He might have hit me in the face while he was asleep, if that actually did happen. And he pretended to push me in water. It's wild, isn't it? I mean, it's so far. Christina, thanks for the 2 months there. Wait, hold on. If she has a PCOS. Why did she say that she was very fertile? That's a good question, isn't it? Those are opposite ends of the spectrum. What the? She says a lot of things that don't make sense when you really start to look at it, right? Blah, blah, blah. Thanks for the 5 there. She had posted on her Dropbox, supposedly, Adderall, 60 milligrams, Wellbutrin, 300 milligrams, Cymbalta, 60 milligrams. Man, is it 300? Sorry, Gabapentin, unknown dosage for sleep. Man, that's a lot of medication. I mean, what's bad is oftentimes people try to. Here's one of the issues you run into too. Doctors will try. I'm sorry, mental health professionals will try to dope a personality order out of existence. And you can't really. You can you may be treating certain symptoms of something, but when you think about what's happening, the personality disorders that you see, and again, I'm not saying she has one, I'm just saying that if you look at the behavior and stuff like that, like it sounds like other cases we've seen. And you can't medicate that away. You can medicate, again, symptoms. But if you're aiming at depression, you have to ask, like, where's that coming from? Is it actually depression? Or is it more of a manipulation tactic? See, you'll never fix that. And the problem with that is you'll snowball medications. You'll get to a crazy amount of medication. And you have to ask, what are you treating? See, somebody has to be cognizant of an issue. They have to be true with themselves. They have to be, they can't lie about where that comes from to themselves. And you have to have actual skills in wanting to, you have to confront like feelings that you'll be abandoned, for example. Everything that happens is somehow related to you and is a personal slight. You can't medicate that thinking away. So again, when I see that, I always wonder. I'm like, are they treating the right thing? Again, I'm not their provider. I'm not their diagnostician, so I'm not. I always wonder that. So about 1 week after the abortion, Mr. M got mad when I told him I felt guilty. He screamed at me. He said I needed to get over it, and he didn't want to stay with me for long if I couldn't. I felt betrayed since he promised to be there throughout the healing process. When I told him this, his response was, I would have said anything to get you to abort. If this is your relationship for real, why would you want to be in it? I mean, for real, if it was, you're comfortable with the idea of abortion. Obviously, she is. And she's telling you, well, the reason that I had it is because in some future world, we would have stayed together, had a happily ever after, and he would have been ready and I would have been ready. It's like, oh, you're not, it's about that honesty of relationship. The relationship is broken and pregnancy was used as a manipulation tool in the first place. It's such if there really was a pregnant, again, I think about on both sides of it. There really was. It's fucked up manipulation. If there wasn't, it's fucked up manipulation. Either way. So between July and November 2016, things between Mr. M and I were rocky. I continued to struggle with feelings of sadness due to the abortion. I would frequently try to talk to him about this. Whenever I brought it up, he just got mad and yelled at me. He would say I should get over it. He'd tell me that he wanted someone more cheery, like ex-girlfriends were. He would regularly demean me. For example, he constantly told me I was worthless and ugly and said that nobody would want to be with me because of my depression. He criticized my performance and said that he was just stating facts by telling me I was bad at my job. He started calling me crazy and telling me that I was mentally ill. He'd tell me I was bipolar and I needed to be medicated. I'd never been depressed before having an abortion. It was also during this time, between July and November 2016, that I was spending a lot of money on Mr. M. The beginning of our relationship, he would pick up the check when we went out to dinner. We'd split it. After a month or so, he stopped doing this and would allow the bill to sit on the table until I paid for it. Oh, you had to pick up. That's such abuse. That is such abuse. I mean, how dare he make you pay for dinner sometimes? Oh my God. Are you what pettiness? I paid for dinner. Are you kidding me? I picked up the check. Well, at the beginning, we would split it or he'd pay. I mean, oh my God. After a month or so, he stopped doing this, allowed me to sit. By the late summer 2016, it became implied that I paid for everything. Then, starting in or around October 2016, he wanted to go out to fancy dinners several times a week, which I paid for. November 2016, he started calling me his sugar mama. Sounds like, again, it sounds like jokes. It sounds like you're telling jokes. Does it not? You know, it's just like the gonna push you in water thing. They sound like little, like, again, you know, oh man, you picked up the bill, man, you're my sugar mama. You know, I mean, it just sounds like a fucking joke that is being weaponized. It's like petty little shit. 2017, after he lost his job, he started asking me to pay for his rent, which I did a couple of occasions. He also asked me to take him on multiple vacations and buy him a $10,000 watch, which I did. Man, I wish somebody buy me a Rolex. Good God, man. That's what that is. You know, I wish somebody buy me a watch like that. Holy shit. You know what I mean? Lord. Oh no. He asked me to pay for a watch, and I did. What a monster. I felt like he was taking advantage of me, but I loved him, so I did what I could to make him happy. I really wanted our relationship to work, but I felt like Mr. M did not like me and didn't want to be with me. When I asked him if he wanted to break up, he said that he did not. And he'd tell me that he really cared about me and thought we could work through our issues. Again, these are hallmarks of a, like I said, I'm just going to put a blanket statement. I'm not diagnosing. I'm just saying these are hallmarks of personality disorder, you know, taking everything, seeing slights, you know, the intense, he's going to abandon me. He's like, no, I love you. No, you don't. You don't. Why? Well, this happened multiple times through a relationship. I felt like he wanted to continue dating me for the money and connections to my father's local fame provided, but he didn't care about me. In November 2016, Mr. M and I went to Tony Robinson's conference. I said Robbins. I said Robinson. Robbins conference, which he asked me to pay for. He said the conference would help our relationship by helping me get over the abortion. He was struggling at work. So he has another job, by the way. And told me this conference would help him get more direction to find out what he really wanted to do, which he said would make him a better partner. During the conference, Mr. M emotionally and verbally abused me, often in front of other people. For example, journaling and sharing within a group was an important part of the conference. Every time I shared what I was written, he would laugh at me, make fun of me, put me down in front of everyone else. I was in tears throughout the conference because of his beratement. I wonder what was written there. You know, dear diary, I love ponies. I love the ponies. I like the ponies when they run and they hoof it. That's so bad. I wonder. Once when I was crying, one of the people who worked for Tony Robbins Corporation approached me and asked me if I was okay. Oh, so here's another, just like on the plane. So we have another instance where somebody overhears and they quote unquote intercede. They told me they had heard him putting me down and asked if I wanted to break up with him publicly on stage. I felt ashamed and said no. Oh my God. I'm going to mark that as, until you prove it, that is things that didn't happen, you know? I mean, do you want to break up with him public? Are we talking about Jerry Springer, the conference here? Because I'm going to say that if I paid several $100s to attend something and they went Springer-esque on me, maybe that would hurt their bottom line because other people don't want to be shamed publicly. I don't think that's the whole point in motivational speaking, you know? So after the conference, Mr. M and I, we took a break. He told me it was unnatural for me not to be over the abortion and that he didn't want to be with somebody who was depressed. He told me he would only be with me if I was medicated. During this time, I sought treatment for the depression. That he insisted I suffered from. So wait a minute, you don't suffer from it? I'm confused. You've been telling us you suffered from it. A couple of weeks later, he asked me to dinner at my favorite restaurant. We started seeing each other again. December 2016, I felt suicidal, reached out to my parents. I was overwhelmed, felt bad about the abortion, Mr. M's hatred toward me. My parents contacted Mr. M and pleaded with him. We saw this text message, by the way, to be supportive and intervene. I did not want to talk with him and ignored his calls for several hours. My parents called the police and had them check on me. The police took me to the ER. I was given IV fluids. I spoke with a psychologist. It was released later that night after I calmed down and no longer felt I was at risk to myself. Contrary to his allegations, I was never treated in an inpatient facility. That's what it said in the text, though. She went to an inpatient facility and checked herself out. You know, that's what it was saying. I mean, if you went in and if the police brought you, it depends on where you live. Like here, that would set off a crisis issue where they would at least monitor you until quote unquote stabilized. You know, now stabilization, what does that mean? Well, it really depends. Stabilization may be nothing more than doping you to your gills. Like if you're having a behavior, let's say, like you're breaking things. Because you can't be involuntarily given drugs by like an outpatient place, but you can, if you're hospitalized, they will give you medication and give you medication until you're stabilized and then they'll release you. So for them not to crisis you is kind of interesting in that statement too. Typically they may release you if there's a discussion for you to go somewhere and get support. But if the police are bringing you in, again, that's this state. Like I can't speak to other states, but that's just, like I said, that's kind of fascinating how that's set up. Typically you're agreeing in that if you're saying, yes, I'm suffering from suicidal ideation, they're not just going to be like, you're good. You're no longer suffering it now. You can go home. That's not, there's a a risk factor that the hospital and the providers take on. So, it's not like you just showed up there and said, "Hey, I'm having a mental issue," and police became involved. Well, my psychiatrist adjusted my medication after this. December 2016, we flew to Iceland. We had been planning this trip since early November. I decided on Iceland since he wanted to go there. He said the trip would help our relationship. He told me everything he wanted to do in Iceland. I paid for it. The trip cost $15K. I emptied my childhood savings account to pay for it. Man, Iceland. How many of you, if you had your dream trip, would you pick Iceland? I mean, I'm not saying anything about it. I've never been to Iceland, but Iceland's not I don't think, where would I like to go? If anywhere in the world, Iceland. That's just not my first pick. I don't know. So during the flight from San Fran to, how do you pronounce that? I don't even know how to pronounce Icelandic name. Reykjavik, maybe? I don't know. I'm going to butcher it. I'm going to call it Typo, Iceland. Mr. M berated me nonstop for hours. He criticized me on nearly everything I said or did. If I turned my head and looked at him when he said something, he criticized me for turning too quickly, telling me my reflexes were unnaturally fast, that there was something wrong. Oh my God, you turn so fast. You have unnatural reflexes. Oh my God, that's a monstrous thing to say to me. What? Oh my God. He criticized my career and told me I was bad at my job and was worthless. He told me I was ugly and no one else would ever want to date me. When I tried to kiss him and cheer him up, he'd tell me I was gross and a bad kisser. He said I was bad in bed. He then said that he wanted to have a threesome since sex with me was so boring. He suggested a threesome with my sister or a black man. Well, what? What the fuck, man? I mean, this is just some random shit to put in there. He tried to sleep with my sister or made me sleep with a black man. I mean, that just comes off as a little, what the what now? Not just for the thing, but it's kind of casually a little racist there, maybe. He wanted me to sleep not with a man, but a black man. It's like, wait, what now? I mean, it just doesn't sound like just made it. It sounds like he wanted me to sleep, me and my sister to sleep together. I mean, I kind of don't buy that. I'm not saying that somebody wouldn't think that or something, but to just casually be like, yo, you're boring in bed. We need to spice things up by bringing in your sister. It's like, wait, what? Oh my God. Can you imagine? Oh, that's funny shit. Oh my God. Yeah. Your sister's gonna. What's up, Lori? By the way, thanks for the 10. You left off a few zeros off the watch, my $10,000 watch. She says, "Well, here's for a watch at Target." Actually, the watch I wear, I got a watch that was a gift from my parents and from my daughters. They, my parents got a Citizen watch, which it's a good watch. I like it. It's got a yellow face, but what really my daughters gave it to me. So when I joke about a watch or anything like that, for real, I don't know if I would wear another watch. It has a lot of sentimental value, It's not the It's not the cost. I mean, it's a nice. I mean, those are nice watches. Those are a few $100, but it's not the watch there. It's the meaning behind it, you know. And I appreciate that. It's funny. Here's a $10 Mindy Mouse. I kind of like that name, by the way. There, I'm sorry, but this is learned behavior. Yeah, that's what personality disorders are. They're the way that you have learned to react. That's why I say again, not diagnosing. I know I'll say that a million times, but as somebody who diagnoses people, I'm going to make very clear. I'm just saying the behavior like that, you can't medicate away the way a person perceives something. You have to work on that. But in order to work on that, a person has to be cognizant of it being an issue and want to work on that. You know? And Heather, thanks for the two there. Kind of jealousy and fantasy. I mean, what is up, sister or a black man? He said it would turn him on to watch someone else have sex with me. I mean, her sister though. See, that's where like if she would have been like, he wanted to have a threesome with me, or wanted to bring, you know, I mean, I could buy that, but you know, if he were legit trying to like make that happen, I just, I mean, for him to think that that was a shot for real would say something strange to me too. You know, if he really legitly thought, yeah, you would get down with your sister, that would be weird. That'd be very weird in and of itself. But I'm overthinking this, right? I'm overthinking it. I told him no. I'm not uncomfortable. He seemed to enjoy putting me down. His criticism went on for hours, and I cried on and off throughout the flight. So he supposedly said that in the flight, too. I forgot. So while sitting in the flight, talking about her unnatural reflexes, he was like, you are boring and bad. Yo ugly. Yo nasty. You no fun. What about your sister? Or a black man? I just, what the... Oh... It's hard to believe that. About 6 hours into the flight, he went to the bathroom. I stayed in his seat and was crying. A passenger in the row in front of me slipped me a note. There's a photocopy attached, which says, Dear girlfriend, I know the Lord had me overhear your conversation to let you know you are a very beautiful young woman, and you should have a man and you should have a man that makes you cry with wonderful laughter, not bullying you. You're being verbally scratched out. Nope. You're being abused. And he would never love you like you deserve. I'm very concerned about you and I'm praying for you. Run from him and get help and protection. He doesn't care what you think or say or do. He's a very sick man and will make you sick if you stay with him. Please take this to heart and help fast. So they give. I wonder, remember that article that where Clayton Echard supposedly had a black man calling him out because he said a certain word, and it was fake. I wonder if somebody wrote this AOL here, if this was one of hers. I wonder if the note, it linked back to a real account. Or I wonder if somebody went through and they actually looked into this account, if it attached to her. Yeah, Chase J. Jones, that's it. Megan wants in. Do you really want in, Megan? Are you around? Let me look. She may have texted me. I don't know. Let me in. Yeah. Okay. All right. Hey, I'm going to invite Megan on. Give me a second, okay? Hey, Megan, I'm going to send this to your I'm gonna send it to your Twitters. Sorry, I had my phone muted. I had my phone blowing up earlier. Let me see. There you are. All right, Megan, I dropped you a link, so you are welcome to join the pregnancy posse. Megan wants in. Get in here, Megan. You're always invited. Megan was like, I'm busy today. I can't come on. She's always invited. Megan's funny. I like having her on. So she's always invited. Just to note. I'll read something when she gets here. I'll let her in. There's another Minnie Mouse too. Thanks. Megan wants in. Thank you. Heather, thanks. Megan wants in too. And Suzanne, thank you too. Megan wants in. Man, so what you're telling me is that if I want to make the super cheddars, that I should just ignore if somebody wants in. No, I didn't see it. I was just playing. That's a good business move there. There's up. Let's see. We have a guest now. It is Megan. What's up?
Oh my God, this is the best part ever. You're about to get into the craziest shit you ever heard, ever. And I have to be here to cackle while you read it.
Yeah, I haven't read this before. You know,
I know.
What do you think about him? He supposedly wants her sleeping with her sister or a black man.
Okay, what you are entering into now is 50 Shades of Laura Owens. These are fantasies, okay?
Mm-hmm.
These are literally the fantasies going on in her head. Not that we wanted to know what was going on in her head, but you're about to find out.
I was shocked when I read the note. For the first time, I started to realize that Mr. M was emotionally abusive, which is not something I wanted to acknowledge. After reading it, I quickly put the note in my backpack to make sure he didn't see it. I was scared he would lose his temper and make a scene if he found out. I also did not want him to know who gave it to me in fear that he would lash out at her. For the rest of the flight, I tried to avoid talking to him since I didn't want to make him mad. I bet he felt happy about that, by the way.
Didn't she also say that at the Tony Robbins thing, someone came over and asked her what was wrong?
Yeah.
So what we have here is a person who creates drama, and everywhere she goes, she creates a scene. So people are like, "Oh, are you okay?"
Yeah. And then she's like, if you don't pay attention, she thrashes around. She's like, really? I'm going to suck on the tailpipe of my car if you don't listen. And you're like, should I intervene? Where's that quarter to flip again?
Yeah, and this, by the way, if you don't know about this is the story she tells in her TEDx talk.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Do you know that this is what we're reading right now? And what's interesting is that this is going to be different, though, than the version in her TEDx talk.
That's amazing. I've got to watch that TEDx live.
Oh, yeah. We got to watch it together. We should do that. And by the way, I also sent you a text today and I was like, you know what? We need to watch her hearings together. I've done it on my channel, but they're definitely worth a second and even third look. We should watch them again.
Hey, by the way, happy pre-birthday, Megan.
Well, thank you, Tug.
Yes, it's and tomorrow is Megan's birthday. So make sure that are you going to live stream it today?
Okay, so I am still working the details out. I'm going to have a birthday stream, and now it looks like I might actually be able to do it. Well, I'm not going to say now. I'm aiming for Tuesday night. Am I streaming tomorrow? I was supposed to stream with Danny Ann at 9 a.m., but I can't get a hold of her, and my son is doing mass at 9 a.m. He's going to be taking part in mass at school mass, and so I have to go. So if anybody is talking to Danny and sees her, tell her to check her Twitter messages because I do not want her to feel like I stood her up. But I want to push it to 11. So if she can push it to 11, I'll be streaming with Danny Ann direct tomorrow. Otherwise, I may do a day stream. I don't know. We'll see.
If you stream, like I said, if you ended up, I figured you had stuff that night, but if you get on for some reason, tell me. I'll be, my time. I get here an hour later. So, all right, here we go. Physical.
Professional.
All right, here we go. In the middle of the first or second night of our Iceland trip, I was sound asleep when Mr. M woke me up by screaming at me. He was in a rage, the likes of which I had never before seen. He was furious at me for sending a photo of us in Iceland to a friend of mine via Snapchat, which got back to him via another friend. That's through Snapchat. Who's monitoring each other in Snapchat? That's weird.
Also, what adults do you know are using Snapchat?
Only the ones that like try to cheat in relationships, you know. I mean, that's the only time I've ever heard of adults trying to use Snapchat. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I've done anything wrong, and I couldn't understand why he was so mad, but he just kept screaming at me. He said he didn't want people to know he went to Iceland with me since he told everyone he was going alone.
That tracks. I wouldn't want anyone to go and to know I was going anywhere with her either.
He told me he was embarrassed to be seen with me.
Yeah, that also tracks.
Throughout the trip, he didn't want me in any of his social media posts or photos. Then he told me that if I went along with what he wanted and was quote unquote good on the trip, then maybe he would post photos of us together and tell people he was with me. If you don't make a scene, I'll give you a biscuit.
On social media.
Yeah.
Like, if your boyfriend doesn't want to post pictures of you with him on social media, maybe you should get a different boyfriend. I don't know. Just saying. Words to live by.
Maybe that's one of their things in the bedroom. Maybe that's another 50 Shades of,
Somebody in the chat just goes, "Dear Penthouse." That's exactly what this is. This is wait till it gets so crazy. Tug, if this is monetized right now, you may have to change the words around because it gets graphic.
I'm sure it won't be, but if you enjoy this content, perhaps consider supporting it because we will probably get demonetized.
Oh yeah.
He insults me and puts me down, repeatedly calling me a fucking psycho and crazy. He was screaming at me, and I pulled out the note from the WOW Airlines passenger. I told him he treated me so bad that even a total stranger was concerned for my well-being.
Okay, stop. In the TEDx talk, she does not show him the note. She hides it from him. Or he may find it and get enraged or something. I don't know. It's a totally different story than this.
I would have to watch that again. What this in my brain, because I watched that, but I was totally distracted. So I had other things. I mean, to be fair, I could be distracted by anything because watching paint dry is better than watching her alone. Like on the stream, it's funny, but yeah,
I know.
But he didn't seem to care. He just brushed it off. I've never seen him so enraged. And
I thought he didn't seem to care. I thought he didn't care. Now he's enraged.
He didn't care so much that he was going to snap and hurt me. I felt like he wasn't even treating me like a human being. I cried myself to sleep that night. So still no abuse yet. So when I woke up the next day on or around the 1st of January, Mr. M was in a totally different mood. He said that he wanted to have a good trip and started things off differently. He started to kiss me. Yeah.
Here we go. Ooh. Here we go. Well, she gave this to a court, Tug.
Well, he was making out. He used both of his hands to shove me into the headboard, causing my head to slam into it. He had never been rough with me like this before. Then he started to have sex with me. As he was having sex with me, he put his right hand around my neck and strangled me.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to laugh at this hideous story.
I was having trouble breathing and started gasping for air. When I did this, he asked me if I liked it. It was hard to talk, but I managed to say no. No, I don't like it. He strangled me until he climaxed, and I kept saying, I don't like it. Then he climbed off me. He climbed off. It's like he needed a step ladder. He step laddered off of me. He unmounted me like a pony, and I know because I raced him.
God.
I felt shocked and deeply confused. My neck and throat were sore. Oh, were you like I said before, when I read her request for a restraining order, I think this is birth control. Like what we know now about mouth babies, I think this is actually him practicing safe sex. You know, he's like,
cutting
gotta have
off
a throat
the
condom.
airway. Yep. We got to close off the throat.
Yeah. I mean, she could have a tree baby or anything. We were talking about, I started worrying about that last night. I was like,
Pollen
if
baby.
if she had pollen, I mean, and they'd have a baby and then he'd be in child support. And then we find out DNA test later on wasn't his baby. Why? Tree baby. I'm telling you. Named it Autumn. Why? No reason. I remember
Just asking if a lawyer types this up, and I do not believe so. This was her declaration that she wrote. And a lot of times she was pro se. I don't know if she had a lawyer at this time. We'll have to see at the bottom of the document if a lawyer signed it. But good Lord,
signed it. Not he might have been like, all right, whatever. I remember lying in bed and staring at the wall for a long time, trying to wrap my head around what he had just done to me. Mr. M just went back to sleep. he just rolled over and started.
Oh God.
And I was staring at the headboard, confused. Later that day, Mr. M wanted to have sex again. I wanted him to be affectionate and loving.
So she was up for it. She was like, okay, well, after the horrible situation last night, I'm still up for it. She didn't just pack her bag. After he fell asleep, she didn't just grab her bag and her passport and leave and go tell the hotel concierge, like, hey, I've just been assaulted. I need help. I need to get home. Take me to the American Embassy.
They just put a little kink in their step. I mean, if worst case scenario, it sounds like they got a little kinky and they're frisky. And I just, I mean, I wanted him to be affectionate and loving toward me and didn't think he would hurt me again since it never happened before. While we were having sex, he told me to pick a number. I said 40. He then opened his hand and slapped my butt really hard. I said, ouch, and told him that hurt. Then he slapped my butt again. I told him to stop, but he kept going. He slapped 40 times in a row.
Wait, I have sound effects for this. Hold on. Hold, please. We have sound effects. We definitely need to use them. Where is it? Not that. That's not it. No, stop.
Was she being kidnapped by an Atari or something? He whipped out the Atari.
Where the hell did my smacking sound go? Shit.
He said he was going to paddle me. I didn't think he meant with an Atari paddle.
Oh, here it is. Wait, where is it? I've got a smack. It's disappeared. Oh man.
Oh man, it's like that other sound effect that disappeared.
Oh my soundboard is all screwed up. I had one. I had like a smacking sound that would have been just absolutely perfect. But yeah, no, it just disappeared.
He slapped me 40 times in a row. I mean, what if she'd have pick a number? 1,273,442. He spanked me 1,000,000 times.
This just sounds like a sex game. I'm sorry, but like this again, is this something she read in a book?
I mean,
was this in 50 Shades? Did anybody read that 50 Shades of Grey book? Is it in there? Because I have a feeling that it's in some book somewhere.
I just no. I had to sit through 50 Shades. Like I kept making jokes about it.
There it is.
50 Shades was a funny movie. There.
40 times 40.
It sounds like they've joined Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat. Fatality. He counted down 40 each time he did it. He told me that the harder he hit me, the more it turned him on. Yeah. After we finished having sex, my butt was stinging. It was bright red. I swear. I look like a baboon. I
mean,
felt the
honestly,
shame.
is she writing this? Did she also publish this on Reddit for like the erotica? Because this is what it sounds like it was written for. It sounds like it was written to, be a turn on for
Oh,
some
what was that?
weirdos on Reddit.
What was that fucking site? They took away all the adult stuff. Oh God, I can't remember.
Backdoor or Backpage? Backdoor.
Backdoor. Yes, that would work here. Backpage works too. Backdoor. Well, I felt the shame that I had allowed somebody to do that to me. The next day, we talked about him slapping me. I told him I didn't like it and that he hurt me. Throughout the rest of the trip, Mr. M wanted to have sex daily.
And she agreed.
Yeah, she was like, give it to me. Every time we had sex, he strangled me and hit my butt with his bare hand repeatedly. This happened between 12 and 15 times. So he was like, pick a number. And she was like, 12, 15.
So she was like, 40 was too much.
Yeah. She was like, let's go with not like, I'd be like,
I went with 10
-2.
the second time, but he went with 12, and I had only asked for 10. 40 was too much. Way too much.
I mean, a correct answer would be like -2, you piece of shit. If you didn't want that, I mean, come on. My butt was bruised and sore from him hitting me.
Why is she describing her butt to the court? Why are
I mean,
you describing your butt, ma'am?
This is her only physical claim of abuse so far.
Spanking. And the strangling. She calls it strangling.
I asked him to stop slapping me every time, but he just laughed, given his temper. And since he was so much bigger than me, I felt there was little I could do to fight back. That's always part of accusations. There was also part of me that deeply wanted to be with Mr. M and wanted him to be attracted to me and affectionate. So I tried to put up with it. So
in other words,
she went along with it.
I didn't object.
Oh, she continued like, oh, let's continue it every day. When he continued to strangle me during sex, I told him he was hurting me and asked why he did it. He said he wanted to be in complete control since it turned him on. He told me, I own you.
Oh, God.
I own you, baby. I told him I didn't like it and I wasn't okay with it, and I asked him to stop. He apologized and promised not to strangle or slap me again. Not to strangle me. I mean, it goes from choke, though, to strangle, and depending on the filing.
Yeah, this is grape fantasy fiction. That's what this is. It's fanfic. And somehow she put it in front of a court, and somehow the judge in this case didn't take a look at this and go, oh, man, this woman needs a doctor immediately. How?
Well,
how have these judges in both the Maricini case and the Gillespie case not seen her for what she is?
This was California, right? Is that right? Let me look.
Maybe this one was in California.
I'm trying to remember. Yes, California. So in California,
do you know she got a restraining order against him for 8 years? And then when it came up for renewal, she got it, even though they lived in different states. And he was like, I've never contacted her. I'm not anywhere. I'm married. I have another job. Like, please don't put this on me, because it's every job I apply for. They see it on my record. And the judge was like, well, too bad. She says that she feels she's still in fear, so we have to give it to her.
That's wild. To be honest, that is absolutely wild.
Yeah, she not only submitted it to a court, chat, she got an 8-year restraining order against this man.
8 years is crazy. I mean,
and then it got re-upped. Wait till you
get
read the
re-upped
document. I don't know
for
how long.
Okay.
But if you read the re-up document, it is so heartbreaking. Yeah. It's just him pleading with the judge, please don't do this. It's ruining my life. I'm trying to move on with my life, and I can't, because I can't get a job. They see this on my record, and I can't get a job.
That's crazy. Throughout the trip, Mr. M continued to put me down and did things that felt like they intended to hurt and manipulate me. For example, I'm an animal lover, especially horses, which I ride for a living. And Mr. M has known that since we started dating. When we first got together, he also claimed to love animals. Man, during our trip, he ordered horse while we were out to dinner. What?
They serve horse in Iceland? I gotta look that up. That doesn't
Yeah,
sound
look that up real
real.
quick. See if
I don't
see if-
think they eat horse in
do they
Iceland.
eat horse in Iceland.
I'm gonna
out.
Google it.
Yes, find out if we can eat horse in Iceland.
That
I was
sounds like
appalled and had the
fiction.
waiter cancel the order. On another occasion, he got mad and made fun of me because I refused to eat well or puffin. He said I was boring, and if I didn't eat well or puffin, he didn't want to be with me since it proved I wasn't open to try new things. Oh my Lord. Oh
Okay,
my
so
God.
apparently they do eat it in Iceland, but finding it is very difficult outside of regular slaughtering seasons, which would be in the fall and winter. Did she say when they traveled there?
They're in January the 1st.
Okay, so that was during the winter. So okay, maybe. Let's see. So I guess pagans sacrificed and ate horses. However, when Iceland became Christian, the authorities quickly banned eating horses, and it took centuries for people to start eating horse meat in Iceland again, and it still isn't common. So I wonder where they went, where horse was actually on the menu.
That's just a random weird thing to put in there. Again, this is the proof of abuse. So he wanted me to eat well, puffin, and horse. And he smacked my butt, and he gave me a little chokey in sex. And he made me count, and I'm not a mathlete. So.
Your Honor, he made me do math. It was very upsetting because I'm not good at math.
So in January the 9th, we came back. In January the 10th, he lost his job. Things got worse after this. He told me he was depressed and lost all the motivation. He was constantly angry. I felt like he resented me because I have a successful career and I'm passionate about.
What's that? What successful career is that?
Taking dad's money.
Yeah, taking dad's money and suing dudes and pretending to be pregnant. She doesn't have a career. Her podcast, that podcast is the most boring shit I ever heard in my life.
Do people actually download that?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know.
I'd be curious about the numbers if anyone knows. It also seemed like he wanted to isolate me from my family. He said things like, "Your mom doesn't love you. You need to realize that." Oh my God. I'd hoped the abuse would stop once we came home, but it didn't. Mr. M became even more aggressive after he lost his job. Every time we had sex, he strangled me. This happened 4 or 5 times per week and at least 100 times total. So they had 100 times they had sex like this.
And she still didn't just like get up and leave. I don't get it.
Sometimes he would tell me to take an Ambien before sex so it'd be easier for him to have his way with me. Sex with Mr. M felt like abuse, not loving and intimate. I often cried while he had sex with me. After he would finish having sex with me, I would tell him that he hurt me and ask him to stop strangling me. Sometimes he apologized and said he just lost control. He'd swear he was going to work on himself and promised to stop. So wait a minute. He lost control by choking during sex. That's loss of control. Other times he brushed it off and acted like I enjoyed it, even though I repeatedly told him I didn't. On numerous occasions, he told me control was a turn on for him, and that he needed it since sex with me was too boring or too vanilla. In mid-February, when we were having sex, Mr. M was on top of me. He put his left hand on my arm to hold me down. He squeezed so hard that it left a bruise for several days, which I took a photo of a day or two later. Man, you got somebody like bait right there. That's strange, I mean, especially considering Then he used his right hand to strangle me. I could barely breathe. When I was gasping for air, he shoved 2 fingers down my throat, which caused me to gag. When I did this, he said, "Good girl."
Ew. Ew. See, is this getting so bad?
It does sound like bad fanfic. I felt panicked and didn't understand what he was doing. I was crying. I kept thinking that I didn't want to do anything to upset him when he did this, since I didn't want to push him over the edge. Like, she keeps talking about pushing him over the edge, but she's never reported him doing anything like that. What's he going to do? Make fun of her and tell her that, like, her mom hates her? Like, or I'm going to order horse meat again for you? What the fuck?
Make you eat horse.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, baby, I control you. You going to eat that puffin. You going to eat that puffin hard."
Oh.
After he stopped having sex with me, I asked him why he put his fingers down my throat and told him he didn't like it. He brushed it off and ignored me. On another occasion...
Gator says she needed Amica cream. That would have solved it all.
Oh. Getting a mouth perforated. He was trying to get her to throw up the babies.
Ew.
Get him out of there.
Ew.
Mr. M strangled me sex so hard that it left red marks on my neck. I sent pictures of the marks to my sister, but did not save the photos because I was afraid he would find them. I deleted many pictures and texts for that reason. There were 2 other occasions where I had marks on my neck where he strangled me. I cannot remember exactly when it was, but I believe it was in May or July 2017. Sometime in February 2017, I noticed tiny red...
Are there pictures of those? Okay, she said she's... Oh, again, I sent the pictures of the marks to my sister, but I didn't save those photos.
I was
that's
seeing if there was any
interesting.
exhibit attached.
Again, her sister is the repository of all the evidence.
Yep. So sometime in February, I said September for some reason, 2017, I noticed tiny red spots around my eyes. Mr. M strangled me, which I now know is called a petechial hemorrhage. This became common and I took photos on a couple of occasions. So she's like, "Oh, look, there's redness around my right eye and cheek in one of the photos. And look, there's photos of redness around my eye and cheek. So that's proof, you know. Sometimes my eyes were bloodshot and I had dark circles around my... So she had bloodshot eyes, and there's the proof. At one point, my mom confronted me about the red spots and asked me how I got them. I told her Mr. M was strangling me during sex, and I believe the tiny spots were a result of the strangulation.
She told her mother that.
And then she's like, yeah. And then Valentine's Day weekend, we went to Napa Valley. I'd recently gotten a dog from a shelter who had been attacked and had his shaved head and stitches.
Okay, we've seen this dog.
The whole time he complained about how ugly the dog was.
It's a pretty ugly dog.
He said he wanted to punt the dog. He told me I was cruel for keeping the dog alive because it was old and blind and ugly, and I should have let it die in the shelter. What the fuck? At one point, the dog had an accident in the hotel room. Why would you take the dog to Napa Valley?
Oh, I thought we were still in Iceland. I got confused. Okay,
no, they came back. The strangling that she was describing, that was after Iceland. Like we got to.
Because she's still with him even after leaving the different country and being back home. Okay, and still going on vacations with him. That makes sense.
Well, you know, like I said, if there was abuse in the relationship, and they were, but they're talking about they're talking about fucking, they're talking about their sex life, which is, you know, they got some little.
Maybe it's kinky. Maybe none of this happened.
Well,
maybe it's completely made up, which is what I'm leaning towards. I'm leaning towards a complete fabrication. Because it's too wild. It's too... A guy who like clearly didn't even want to go to... His story is... Did you get to his story yet? That he didn't even want to go to Iceland. That she bullied him into going. I read that in the
text messages. I haven't read his yet.
Do you really think that a guy who already wanted to break up with her, wanted to have sex with her every day? Do you really think that is the case? Because I don't. I don't see that being a thing. I think she made this up. And that's a protected opinion based on her behavior. in other cases. I don't think this is real.
Heather Booth said, I wouldn't tell people I was going to the flea market with her. Hey, Jesse thinks of Megan, can you make that a button? Tug saying, I don't like it.
That would be funny.
And Donna thinks for 5. This is so good. I had to have some popcorn.
Dang.
All right. So, whoops, I missed the end of the dog there. At one point, the dog had an accident. Mr. M got mad at me and screamed at me for the dog not being potty trained during the trip. He strangled me during sex several times. Wow, there's a lot of the dog, by the way.
He strangled me again. Oh, and also I was still then with him in February, a month later.
Yep.
After more strangling.
So sometime in February 2017, he asked me to take and pay for a trip to Dubai with him. He said it was a good time because he wasn't employed. He told me the trip would be good for us and help restore a relationship. He hadn't told me that he loved me yet, but he had a feeling he would be ready to say it in Dubai. He often said he was almost ready to say, I love you. I wanted good things for us, so for him to be happy, so I agreed. I thought she cleaned out her savings. She said earlier that she cleaned out her childhood savings to pay for Iceland.
Yeah, and by the way, does a woman whose father is worth $25 million need to spend her life savings, her childhood savings on a trip to Iceland? That doesn't make any sense.
I want somebody buying me a $10,000 watch. I was just saying, like I want that in my life, though.
I mean, she obviously has access to tons of money.
Yes, I mean, just when you're casually dropping money like that.
Or she's making that up too. I don't know. Who knows?
It's possible. I don't, with that much money, I would think, the way the parents act, I would think she probably has access to a lot of fuck you money,
Yeah.
So he berated and verbally abused me throughout the Dubai trip, March 2017. He took me to a watch store and asked me to buy him a $10,000 watch and to be a sugar mama. Why would you buy that watch in Dubai? I mean, I would be afraid of counterfeit, just in a foreign country.
Wait, is she saying she went to Dubai?
Yeah. She's saying they went to Dubai.
What happened to I guess she had more childhood savings to.
That's what I'm saying. Like, where'd it come from? And she bought a $10,000 watch on top of it.
Yeah, none of this adds up.
When we had sex, he strangled and or slapped me every time. I felt abused and taken advantage of and withdrew from him emotionally during the trip.
Again, she's going on another trip overseas with this dude. I don't know.
Man, I wish I had a job where I could just pick up and go to trips anytime I felt like it.
I wonder if that trip even happened.
In or around March 2017, I was with Mr. M at my house when he started having sex with me on the couch. He was on top of me. He grabbed a pillow and put it on my face.
I've often wanted to put a pillow over her face, but
the jokes just make themselves for that one. He held it down with his right hand and was thrusting it into my face. I was wriggling under it. Thrusting. How do you?
Maybe he was trying to get her mouth pregnant again. I don't know.
I mean, was he having sex with it? Oh yeah, you like that, baby?
Yeah. Like what?
Like
I'm trying to picture this.
He's like, I always called you a pillow biter. I was wiggling under him, trying to get him off of me. I tried to scream, but I could barely make a sound with the pillow smothering my face. It was hard to breathe. And I remember thinking to myself, is he going to kill me? I felt like he was treating me like a cadaver.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was just a body he was abusing and having sex with. When he climaxed, he told me it was the best sex we ever had. He told me he liked controlling my access to air, and he wanted to control every aspect of my life. I felt completely demoralized. I mean, really.
I'm sorry, but all of this is just too. It's too romance novel. It's too great B fantasy fan fiction penthouse letter for me. And why wouldn't you, instead of writing it like this, why wouldn't you, all of 37 could have been summed up to say this: Mr. M put a pillow over my face in March and tried to smother me, I believe, and I thought he was going to kill me. Period. She didn't have to put any of the stuff about the climax and the best sex we've ever had. And ew.
Well, she made it a normal part of their sex life. And, I mean, she's not talking about the rest, like the abuse, though. Her regular life, like there's nothing that she's not talking about anything except he said some mean things to me. I mean,
so bizarre.
Sometime in March 2017, I sought treatment for anxiety related to Mr. M's abuse of me. I was unable to sleep and was having nightmares and night sweats.
Meat sweats?
I was having the meat sweats. And he was like, you need to have more pillows in your diet. May 2017, Mr. M, his mother and sister, went into my apartment without my permission while I was not home. I had given Mr. M a key. Wait, I got a kid coming.
Well, so you gave him a key.
Just a second, I got a kid coming.
Okay.
Hey, what's up? What's going on?
What's taking so long?
We're reading this. I'm reading thing for our stream today.
What's taking so long though?
But it takes a while to go through.
It's taking so long though.
I'm going to go through this and then. No, you cannot be here for this.
No.
No, you can't cover your ears for this one.
This is worse than horror.
Yeah. This is a very bad person we're talking about. Nope. You have to go. I'm going to have to go put her in bed. Can you take over for just a second?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a second.
I will read the chat for a while.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Okay. Horse meat sweats, says Scott's cat. Hilarious. I can vouch that Alexandra in the chat is definitely a spoiled rich girl, and she does not behave like this. Absolutely not. She has all the good things about being spoiled and rich and none of the bad things. Because she's my cousin. That's how I know this. And I love her. I'm glad you found us tonight, Alex. What else? Who else is talking in the chat? 2E Jean Carroll, perhaps, says Julie. Oh, yeah, that was weird. Like, same thing with her. Like, really descriptive, really weird language, and then goes on Anderson Cooper and says that grape is sexy. Weird. That's weird. Okay. It's what Deborah Kennedy says. It's way too fictional and lousy at it. That's how I feel. Can we cross-check to see if this is plagiarized, says Christina G. That's a great idea. That's a really good idea. Although I have a feeling that her imagination runs wild, and I don't think she has any trouble coming up with this kind of stuff. Rebel Bird. Thank you for pointing this out. Rebel Bird says, oh Lord, she's making an earnest attempt to appeal to every fetish in this story. Yeah, it's really weird. And it's really weird that she's putting all these details in this affidavit thing that for the court that she really doesn't need to put in there. She really only needs to make a list of like, here's the abuse I suffered. I will list the abuse: choking, suffocating, slapping, those things. That's all she needed to say. But we got instead how many pages is this? A 17 page?
17 pages, yeah.
A 17 page fan fiction, grape fantasy, like a romance novel that she could probably publish on Amazon and make a few bucks on.
Which is so weird there, So during all of that, she takes a break, though, to be like, they broke into my house. I gave him a key while I was traveling in April 2017. I believe he made a copy without my permission. I found out he was going in with his mother and sister when his mother mentioned to me that Mr. M had taken him to my house. That's just so random,
Yeah, I mean, why put this in there? Like, okay, he didn't have my permission, but I gave him a key.
Yeah, and then what did he supposedly do wrong in there? Well, we didn't list anything. you know, and they told me they felt comfortable enough to tell me they went in.
Right, with his mom and sister. What did you think they were doing in there? Like, if he went there with his mom and sister, maybe he just went there to like pick something up, or I don't know. It's so strange. Why, if he had a key, that's not a break-in.
He was making fun of my dog. He kept calling it ugly to his face.
I'm sorry, but that is an ugly dog. One of the ugliest. Alex, if you're in the chat still, you have to see a picture of this dog. I will try and send it to you on text. You will die. This dog is so hideous.
Poor dog.
Sorry, but the dog.
Then when you go in, you're like,
face.
Can I get a dog? And let's make it ugly.
Give me the ugliest one you have.
They're like, we got just the thing. You're like, holy God, no. I mean, this dog is jacked up too. It's like tongue stuck out all the time. She's like, hey, in the picture, does it have its tongue out? I don't remember it having its tongue out.
Yes, there is a picture of him with his tongue out. Yes.
Are there pictures of it without its tongue out?
Yes.
Because she was saying it's like paralyzed basically, and its tongue's always out.
It does look like it's paralyzed. Maybe the picture I saw that I didn't see a tongue was from the good side, not the best.
The good side. It's the less ugly side. You know.
Alex, I'm texting you the video of the dog. You're gonna die.
Poor dog. It's like the dog's like, even I didn't need to hear about this story. You know? Okay, so around June 9th, 2017, Mr. M and I were in Carmel. And when he tried to lock me in a sauna at a spa, he was like, I gotta get out of here now. Also, during the trip, when we were walking together at dusk, he used one hand to push me off the sidewalk into a bush. That's the second time she has him pushing her into shrubbery.
But you know, and then he says he was just having fun. Well, we're laughing. It sounds hilarious. I mean, my husband has pushed me into shit before, like just to be funny.
Well, she was like, he almost pushed me in water and said he was joking, but I think he hated me. And then I dated him for another year.
Men do stuff like that. It's fun. You know, they think it's funny. If you don't think it's funny, you tell them to stop, and then they don't do it anymore.
That's how guys goof off with each other, man. You know, and I mean, it is like we do all that, you know. And here's the thing, like, you know, women want you to let your guard down, and you know, hey, just hang out. Well, have you ever heard guys hang out? Like we're pretty crass, and we do all kinds of
brutal to each
shit.
Other.
Yeah, I mean, we're always mean to each other.
My husband is always doing that kind of stuff to my son. Like the two of them are always pranking each other.
Yeah.
And
That's what me and my daughter, we prank each other all the time. You know, she loves pranking me, you know, and I prank her back, and we have fun. It's part of what we do together, you know.
And men often like to make women scream, like, you know, they think it's funny. So like my husband will sneak up behind me and he'll scare me, and he thinks it's hysterical that I jump and scream. He loves that shit. I hate it, but you know, it's not abusive. I end up laughing because he finds it so funny. So when he's laughing hysterically because he just scared the crap out of me, I start laughing too. I can't help it.
It's part of being familiar with somebody, you know. I mean, just honestly. Right. Okay, so let's see. She catches herself though. Thank God she didn't fall in the bush.
Oh, thank God she didn't fall into a bush.
When I asked him why he pushed me, he said actually he was giving me a subliminal message because he wanted to have sex with my sister. Actually, doesn't say that. In around June 2017, he was having sex with me. He stopped having sex with me and demanded I give him oral sex. He grabbed my head.
That just sounds like a normal evening. Like sometimes you quit doing what you're doing and you do something else, and then you do something else, you know, so it doesn't get boring. I don't know.
He's like, he grabbed my head and thrust his pee-wee down my mouth.
Look at the language. And he grabbed my head and thrust. Hold on. I need the voice. I'm sorry. I can't do that.
He grabbed my head and thrust his weenus into my mouth. He held the back of my head and I couldn't move it, and he thrust thrust his wiener so far down my throat that he hit the babies. I mean, I threw up. And this happened several times during our relationship.
No, who says this?
I mean, that's oral sex. I mean, my God.
Isn't that but why would you put it that way? I mean, if this is part of the abuse, why wouldn't you just say, he forced oral on me?
It sounds like she's rewriting their she's making everything that happened.
Dear diary.
Exactly. It does.
It's so weird.
So in around June 2017, he suffocated me with a pillow again during sex. We were on a couch. I could barely breathe. I tried to scream, but nothing came out. I thought he was going to kill me. I remember feeling responsible for what he was doing to me, and so sad that things had gotten to this point. I'd gone from being confident, independent woman to now being suffocated. Oh no. I remember thinking it didn't matter if he killed me since I had lost all self-respect anyway. I mean, that's what you're thinking during sex. You're like, oh, mental point.
OMG, Aggie said, did she notice the dirty rug? That's the only thing missing from here.
Yeah, it's very true.
I found myself staring at the dirty carpet thinking, how did it get this dirty? How did this carpet get so dirty?
She would be interesting to see testify, because I bet she has the and if you've seen her,
I can't wait for it.
Oh,
I can't wait. June 10th, everybody. June 10th. Be there.
I'm definitely, like I said, I'm hijacking some streams. Actually, no, you'll be talking about stuff, and I'll be like, Megan's gonna come on and tell us about this magic.
I will absolutely call in.
Oh God, that'll be good. That'll be good. On the ground now, we're this is breaking news as we tune in for the lightning reporter, also PhD Megan Fox.
Here we go. Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Reporting
Megan
from Maricopa
Megan
County.
Fox is just now gotten a story. You will not believe what has come up here. We're cutting live to Megan Fox. What are you going to tell us, Megan?
I'm standing outside the Maricopa County Court here in Scottsdale, Arizona, where Laura Owens has just taken the stand, and she has been eviscerated by Greg Woodnick on cross. The cross-examination was pretty wild indeed. Yeah, that's what it's going to be like.
Well, like, thank you, Megan. And were there any pillows involved?
There were no pillows involved in today's testimony, but we are hoping for some pillow talk tomorrow. Boy, don't I wish that this was like an entire week-long trial, but it's only going to be 2 hours. How is that possible?
Oh, God, it'll still be a week worth of fun to talk about.
True.
You
All right, it's in Phoenix, not Scottsdale. Thank you for, correcting me, boots on the ground. That was very necessary. Phoenix, Scottsdale, whatever.
Somewhere in Arizona.
Somewhere in Arizona. And the douche canoe lawyer has ripped off his jacket in a fit of anger and has thrown it on the floor and has started whining to the judge that he didn't get enough time to write motions about Donald Trump.
Yeah, Julie said, thanks for the vibe. To E. Jean Carroll, perhaps, Megan.
Very similar.
I didn't really tune into all of that.
Well, she told Anderson Cooper that grape is sexy.
I saw the quotes there, for stuff, but I just didn't keep up with the claims, everything that was going on. It just, I didn't expect, to be honest, I did not expect the decision to come in like it did, for it being, even if you were talking about accusations, real or not real, no matter what, the time that had passed between them, proving anything is impossible. So I didn't cover it. Rhea Ryan, also, thanks for the 2. Maybe the dog looked like that after being with her.
It's possible. Very possible.
Oh, no. So in or around, let's see. Okay, here we are. I lost my place for a second there. At some point, I lost consciousness completely. When I came to, I was on the bed with the pillow over me. His hand was pressing the pillow into my face, and my head was shoved against the wall sideways. What? For some reason, I thought they were, oh, yeah, I guess they're not on the couch. I thought they were back on the couch again, my bad. I was like, how'd they get against the wall? I guess they're not. This was the most violent he had ever
Yeah, I
been
thought they were
towards
on a couch too. They were on a couch right there. It says we were on the couch.
Yeah. So how are they?
How did her face pressed into a wall? Oh, we've got a problem here.
Yeah, because I mean, how does that work? Because okay, you know, if you're on the couch and somebody has a pillow over your face, that means you need to be flattened out. Even if, I mean, even if you're sitting, you know, with your head arched somewhat, how far can you arch up? And then to turn side, I don't get it. I don't
know. Her head could not have been pressed into.
And
the
how
wall.
is your head turning sideways and he's still suffocating you?
Yeah, no, this doesn't make sense. Her head was shoved against the wall sideways. There's no wall when you're on a couch. The wall is behind the couch. Nobody puts the front part of the couch up to the wall. Yeah, this is stupid.
He then grabbed me and turned me around.
We need a Lego. Wait, the chat says we need Legos to understand.
Oh, no. We're gonna have oh no, we don't need that, Megan.
No, let me build a Lego couch and show you with a Lego couch up against a wall how we would do this. No, I'm just kidding.
Lego Exhibit A. You'd be like, nay, gross. Let's see. I couldn't even lift my head since I was so weak. He then told me, get on your knees. I was in a complete daze. I did
what he said.
I did what I said since I was afraid of what he would do if I didn't. He ejaculated in my mouth. Wait, when's the pregnancy after this?
I don't know.
I'm just curious.
I don't know, but like this is so unnecessary for the court to hear. Like, what judge didn't read this and be like, oh, ma'am, I didn't need to hear any of this. Like, ugh. I have never been so demeaned in my entire life. I find that hard to believe.
I didn't say a word to him after this. He was like, well.
That's because her mouth was full.
Maybe we should do this more often. It's because she was nurturing the pregnancy. I felt completely broken as a human being and hated myself for being with someone who did this to me. I went to the bathroom. When I came back, I went to the bathroom and then came. What do we need that? Like play by play? I went to the bathroom. I had to take a dookie. I'm like, wow, it was a rough time. I need more fiber. Too much horse meat. When I came back, Mr. M was asleep, gross. In November 2017, I brought this incident up to him after we had broken up. Okay, so that happened in June. So in November, she brings it up. I asked him what type of man needs to suffocate and strangle a woman to get himself off. And he told me it was my fault because I brought that out in him. I withdrew from the relationship after this. I was afraid of him and started spending less time with him. I traveled a lot from July to October. Man, she has a great job, you know, where you can just travel all the time. I need somebody to sponsor my travel all the time.
That's probably just her with her horse jumping. You know, they pay to do that too. Like you have to pay to enter into all those competitions that she's in, where she's, I don't know, competing against children or teenagers. I don't know, but she's competing in horse jumping, and she comes in like 10th place.
You saw the text messages from the family. So for her to allege stalking seems really odd because I didn't get that flavor. I got the flavor of he wants to leave and she's threatening to off herself, you know? I mean, I didn't get yeah. So when I tried to talk to him about us not seeing each other anymore, he told me that he would work on being better. Stalking. By October 2017, I was only spending time with Mr. M sporadically and was deliberately trying to see less of him. I began canceling our plans since I didn't want to be around him. When I did this, he started showing up places within a 2-block radius of my apartment. And he knows I frequent. Oh no. So he goes to stores that are nearby. Like his thing said.
Does he also in the same neighborhood? Because that
I
would make
wondered that.
sense.
Because the sister, said that they ran into each other at a restaurant, and he said, no, I didn't go in and run into her. We ran into her outside, and it was like 400 feet from where my sister lives or whatever. So he also started coming by my house unannounced, even when I told him not to, or was ignoring his texts, calls and texts. In October to November, my insomnia worsened. I was waking up in the middle of the night in a sweat from nightmares about him trying to strangle and kill me. I was and continue to be constantly afraid of seeing him. So he's trying to murdering it, but don't have sex with him. I mean, that's the only time you're doing that stuff. I mean, when traditional antidepressants stopped working, my doctor prescribed ketamine therapy. Oh no, which was administered directly by my doctor to treat my PTSD and depression, and not prescribed as a horse tranquilizer, contrary to what Mr. M's allegation is in his declaration. She's taking ketamine,
I wonder if a doctor actually, proved that with her records.
I mean, I'm wondering, with all the other stuff she's on and doing, that seems a little, it just seems a little, I don't know.
I guess the antidepressants weren't working anymore.
They never weren't, because maybe, they weren't treating the right problem. One Wednesday night, October 2017, I was with my family at Maybeck's restaurant, less than 2 blocks away from my apartment. My family and I regularly had dinner at Maybeck's on Wednesdays, and Mr. M knew that. He had come to Wednesday dinner a couple of times, and he criticized the restaurant and said it was terrible. Mr. M and his sister walked in. This is where he said, she lives pretty close, and we ran into her in the parking lot, and sat down 3 tables over. So he stared at us. This made me very uncomfortable. So he ate at the same restaurant. And oh, no.
And he looked at you.
And that's it. That's it. It ends there.
That's paragraph 46, folks. The gall of this man. The abuse is so terrible.
He ate at a restaurant. Dun, dun, dun. Sometime
and he may have looked in her direction.
Mr. Ib asked if he could come over. I told him no, it was late and I was in bed already. 5 or 10 minutes later, he showed up at my house and knocked at the door. I stayed in bed and ignored him. He banged on the door and yelled my name and said he knew I was home because he could hear the TV. I was worried my neighbors would be upset by the loud banging and yelling, so I opened the door. I asked him why he came, since I told him not to. He said he was in the neighborhood. Then he started trying to have sex with me, like right at your door. He started dry humping my leg.
This sounds like a Jack Murphy story gone wrong.
I was too afraid of him to stop him. We were having sex, and he asked,
on the doorstep? Was this on the front porch?
He says this, though. How does it make you feel to know I'm sleeping with a tall blonde girl? She's the complete opposite of you physically. I told him I didn't care, and he said, does it make you feel jealous? I like to see you jealous. It's a turn on. He held me down with his left hand, and he strangled me. That was the last time we had sex.
And yet she still lets this guy into her house. Unbelievable.
That's fucking bizarre. I tried to avoid engaging with Mr. M and hope he'd just leave me alone. He continued to contact and ask to see me. I was polite and cordial to him since I was afraid of what he would do to me if I wasn't. So they were broke up, but he didn't know it. Is that what you're telling me? Like, I kind of didn't tell him that we were broken up. We kept having sex.
We don't have any of these messages, though, from him where he kept asking to see her. I've been through the entire file and all of her exhibits and whatnot, and I don't see any text messages from him trying to see her. I see a bunch of text messages of him trying not to see her.
Right. Well, it sounds like he was going out of his way to try to avoid, short and whatever and crazy. Short something crazy. Short, crazy, and crazy. I mean, double it up. Hashtag crazy.
Oh,
On
God.
November 2008, November 28, 2017, Mr. M sent me a text message saying he saw me and my family at someplace, Noko, or I don't know. Fuck. I sent him a text message to ask him where he was in the restaurant. He responded, "I was at the bar in the corner. I saw you all when you were walking out and were just being served. What do you think of it?" Whoa, that's creepy. I'm telling you. He made me feel uneasy that he happened to be in the same restaurant within 2 blocks of my apartment, and he saw me there and said nothing at the time. I saw you when you were walking out.
Why would he say anything when, if he does say anything to her about seeing her, she's like, "You're stalking me"?
I mean, he's like, "Hey, I saw you when you were walking out." Oh my God, why didn't he say? Because you were walking out? You're with your family? I don't know. I was afraid to walk down the street alone because I felt like he was stalking me. I felt like. So you don't know. I mean, you didn't see any proof of it, but okay. In December 2017, I had my parents or friends pick me up or drop me off at my front door, or would take a Uber or Lyft everywhere, even to go a couple of blocks. Man, I wish I had that kind of fuck you money. I'm telling you.
Right.
Even though he does not live within my neighborhood and told me he was moving to Sacramento, I saw him at least 10 times within a 2-block radius of my apartment between December 2017 and the end of January 2000. So in 2 months, he was within that. And apparently, like I said, he's saying that his sister lives close to that. So he was visiting his sister. How dare he? In December 2017, I posted on Instagram that I was having dinner at that same place. An hour or so later, Mr. M showed up there while I was having dinner with my mother. He walked inside and came directly to our table. He was with a tall blonde woman who he introduced as Callie. He lingered at the table for a minute or so before sitting down at the table next to us, although there were plenty of open tables everywhere. This made my mother and me so uncomfortable that we left. So he's with somebody else. He was with the tall blonde woman that she happened to work into her fanfic, with something that can't be proven as a statement.
Oh, I love this next part.
After meeting
This is
Callie,
so Fatal Attraction.
I started thinking about how terrible I would feel if Mr. M hurt her and I did nothing to warn her of his capacity for violence. I wish I'd known how abusive he was before I fell for him, and I considered telling her about my experiences. That's creepy. So that's creepy. The next day, Mr. M contacted me and asked to make me dinner. I said no. He got upset that I turned him down, and we got into an argument. I confronted him about his lies and the physical abuse. He did not deny choking or smothering me with a pillow.
Yeah, objection hearsay is right. And also, did she record that conversation? Because if not, I don't know what it's doing in this declaration.
There's a fuck ton of I don't know what this is in here for,
Mm-hmm.
One Thursday, mid or late December 2017, my parents were crossing the street to meet me at He's in the marina.
Amicis. Yeah.
Amicis. It's all like fucking foreign to me.
You're like, forget it.
Amiibos.
Like, I give up. Amiibos.
A restaurant that I regularly go with them and had seen several times with Mr. M. He tried to stop my parents as they were walking in. They didn't engage with him. While we were eating, he walked by the restaurant window 3 times and stared at us. He walked by 3 times.
No, he didn't. No, he
did
didn't.
A walk by.
That's ridiculous.
A few days after this, I was at Amicis again. I was at Amiibos again. And Mr. M walked by the restaurant and peered inside the restaurant as he passed. He made eye contact with me. About 10 minutes later, he walked by and stared at me a second time. That's it. That's it. He walked by. I've been going to Barry's Boot Camp, a gym around the corner from my house daily since we began dating. Throughout our relationship, he made fun of me going. Then in December 2017, he joined the gym even though he doesn't live in the neighborhood. Did he go to the gym? I mean, did he actually go? Because he joined, but it doesn't. Does he ever go to the gym?
I don't know.
On January the 5th, 2018, I was at some other place with my friend, Joan. We were sitting by the window having dinner when I saw Mr. M walking toward the restaurant with a blonde woman. They stopped directly in front of our table outside the restaurant window, and Mr. M stared at us. Why the fuck would he do that when he has this blonde woman? Well, I don't get it. That doesn't even make sense.
I don't know.
He's like, I got this chick with me.
I don't think any of this is true.
I mean, why would some woman be like, yeah, I'm gonna stand with you while you're gonna stalk your ex? You know, I mean, it doesn't. I was so afraid for her life. You know. By the way, he was taking her with him while he was standing outside restaurants, peering in and wanting to.
It was just a fun date, just taking his date out to stare at his ex-girlfriend. That sounds like something a date would do with you.
Read line 8 again. He woke up on the bed. Wait, is that with the couch thing?
On the couch thing? Maybe. Did she say she woke up on the bed after saying
we're
they
on
were
57.
On the couch?
Remember, we're on 57.
All right, 57. Go back up to 8? Or
yeah, I'm figuring out which 8.
Did she mean paragraph 8 or line 8?
I don't know.
Oh wait, there. Go back.
Here, okay.
There. Wait.
Sort of.
Oh no, sorry. Oh yeah, couch. There's the couch.
Yeah.
All right. So then, does she say she woke up on the bed?
I'm looking for the. Put it over my face. Well, he falls asleep, That's what I remember him.
Really, I'm trying to get him off my screen.
I don't see it.
I don't see it.
Clarify that in chat if you would, please. I'm curious what you saw.
57.
Okay, so I was afraid to look at him and try to avoid eye contact. They walked away, but came by a few minutes later by himself and stood directly outside the window by our table. He stared inside at us and trying to get our attention. We ignored it. A minute or so later, he entered the restaurant and stood at the hostess stand, which was directly in front of me. He stared at me. I was so uncomfortable and afraid that I looked down to avoid eye contact. Then he walked towards the back of the restaurant and continued to stare for another 10 minutes or so. I felt like he was trying to intimidate me. I was too afraid to leave. Wait, so he ate at the restaurant.
No, he stood there like a creep, just staring. Like the restaurant people just let him stand in the back of the restaurant.
Stand in the place where you live. Now stalk Laura.
Because, I work in a restaurant. If some creep walked into the restaurant and then walked to the back of the restaurant and just stood there staring at someone having dinner, I don't think we would allow that.
Especially some dude staring at a woman, like staring her down creepily, for 10 minutes,
Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense.
I'm sorry, for another 10 minutes, So that just
10 minutes? No, that would there would be waitresses going, "Sir, can I help you with something? What can I do for you? Can you wait by the hostess stand? Are you going to eat tonight?
If you just
can I get
stood
you a
there,
table?" That would not happen.
They call the police on you if you just stood there trying to physically intimidate somebody.
Yeah, we'd be going for the manager and being like, go help us with this weird dude standing in the dining room.
So on January the 6th, I decided to contact the blonde woman. That's what they're telling me there.
How did she find her last name? Kelly, how'd she find it?
Yeah, she stalked her down. That's a very good question.
All she knew was her first name.
I sent her a message telling her that
I'm sure this message was insane.
Oh my God. I would have given anything for someone to reach out to me before I got deeply involved with him. I told her about the red flags I should have paid closer attention to, as Mr. M's lies about his career and prior romantic endeavors. Oh no. I wrote that he became physically abusive about 6 months into our relationship, and I simply don't want someone else to be hurt by him. Like, this kind of shit should get you sued, Like, that's a lawsuit right here. I told her about the note from the the plane.
Oh God.
I
And she
also-
attached a picture of it.
Oh my God, that's nutty. Regardless of if you do anything with the information I shared with you, I would beg you not to share it with Mike or to bring up my name, as he truly scares me at this point. What the fuck?
As if she wasn't going to tell him. She'd be like, look at what your crazy ex-girlfriend sent me.
So on the 7th, I had dinner with my parents at
Again at Mamanoko. She loves this place. It's like the only restaurant in town, apparently.
my parents, they were like, do you want us to take you home in case you see Mike? I said no, since they were parked in a different direction. It'd take me less time to walk home. I was walking home. I saw him with his sister. So here that show, they're in the same area. So that goes with what he was saying about the sister, because this is the second time he and the sister have been around. They were less than 1.5 blocks away from my house. They were standing by the sidewalk staring at me. I was looking down at my phone and tried to pretend I didn't see him. He started yelling, "Are you kidding me?" Then the sister called me a psycho. Yeah, there's like, "Are you stalking me?" That's what he's asking. Are you fucking stalking me? Are you kidding me? And then they started screaming about the Facebook message. When I pulled my phone out to call my parents, it says, "Don't you dare get your phone." They were standing in front of me, which prevented me from walking past them. A couple was coming out of the nearby restaurant. Did they slip her a note? Oh man, he's intimidating. Here's a note. Here's another couple that's probably terrified. As they were walking past, I told Mr. M to stay away from me. I was going to seek a restraining order. I was terrified and hysterical. I called my parents to tell them what happened. Then I asked my friend Joan to come over, since I was afraid of Mr. M and his sister would come to my house. My God. Oh. So he called the police. In the middle of the night, around 1 a.m., I got a call from San Francisco Police Department. They told me that Mr. M had emailed them a copy of the message I sent to Miss S and asked if I knew why. I said no, and told me the sister had accosted me on the street. They questioned me about domestic violence I alleged in the message and asked if they could come take a report. See, that's some bullshit right there. The police are, he's like, "Look, this woman's stalking me. She's making up crazy shit. Oh, well, can we come and take can we get a complaint from you about DV?" It's like, well, what? When the police arrived, I explained the circumstances surrounding the message I sent and the history of physical abuse and stalking. The next day, I was afraid.
So am I supposed to believe, wait a minute, that the police contacted her to take a report just simply from a Facebook message she sent to someone else? I just don't believe
with
that.
the police. I'm telling with the police, you never know how that's going to go sideways. Though he could have called the police and been like, "Look, she's stalking me. Here's the message. What she said. She's making up all this crazy shit." And when the police looked at it, they're like, "Oh, domestic violence. Oh, well, obviously he's guilty."
Maybe.
I mean, that's well.
General Tuggernaut sent me a sonogram of my triplets. And they are hilarious.
God, let's see this. Tag.
It's a fox, an umbrella, and a Legal Vices.
Oh no. Oh no. You need to
Why
use
does
more air.
Legal Vices have a tail?
It's a hybrid baby. It's got fox.
That's disturbing.
It's very disturbing. All of it.
So disturbing.
Third trimester too. Look, at least they're happy hanging out. Look, he's happy. He's like, "Oh yeah, that's so fun."
I like how the fox one's little legs are crossed.
He's like kicking him in the face,
hanging out.
Like, "Get you some in your face, bam." Yeah. He looks like he's tickling her toes. Like that. Okay, so here's the line. Okay, so here's the line 8 thing. So
wait, you got to put it.
They
back
were on the
the
couch.
screen. Oh, okay.
He choked her out, and then she woke up on the bed with her head against the wall.
Oh, so he threw her over his shoulder and carried her to the bed. Then knocked out.
I mean, so how long, like,
and then continued to smother her with the
you
pillow?
wouldn't, yeah, I mean, okay, so you're unconscious that long though, and they're not like, maybe you're dying, you know? Because yeah, when people lose consciousness, I mean, you only have a little bit of time before you have some permanent problems, you know, like an
Yeah.
oxygen jacks you up. And she's like, I woke up a day and a half later and I was confused and he was still dry humping my leg. It's like, what? So
What?
she says after the police thing, okay, so the next day I was afraid to leave my house. I didn't know what to do. So I contacted the sheriff to ask for help, how to get a restraining order.
Wait, we need the document back up.
Oh, well, my bad. I thought I had it up there. My bad. I'm glad you said that because I had the wrong thing up. Give me a second. Okay, there we go. So the police leave. The next day, she contacts the sheriff and asks about getting a restraining order, and then contacts the DA. They ask if I want to file criminal charges, she says. They said, that's fucked up. And that actually is a way that this might play out. He complains about her stalking, so she starts doing that, and they do nothing for him. Yeah, I could believe that, you know?
Yeah.
So on January the 9th, I filed a request for a DVRO. And then on the 10th, so the chain of things by her own admission was she contacted his new girlfriend, made up all kinds of crazy shit about him. He calls the police. The police go and ask her about her allegations. And then the next day, she decides.
They probably told her to call the sheriff. They probably told her to do that.
That's fucked up right there. I mean, her admission.
Yeah, he's like,
of how
I'm being stalked. I'm being stalked. And now my girlfriend's being stalked. And they're like, oh, okay, we'll go talk to her. And then we're like, oh, you should call the sheriff on him.
Yeah.
You could get a restraining order. And then they give it to her the next day. Wow.
That's nuts. But I mean, that is how things do play. That's her own way of saying it. Since then.
And I like what she says, that he has violated it and has continued to show up at places he knows that I frequent within a block or two of my apartment. Well, he also frequents the same places because he lives in the same neighborhood, you dummy.
So he posted on Instagram that he was at De La Rosa, which is across the street from my house. He also went, well, that doesn't mean you're in your home. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so bizarre. So she's like, all these places that you go, I just fucked you up. You can't go over to visit your sister or your house or wherever the hell. Also, he went to Barry's boot camp, which he had a membership to, and
he's not allowed to go there though.
No.
Shit. He's not allowed to go to restaurants that he used to go to. He's not allowed to go to the gym that he goes to in his neighborhood, all because of her. All right, guys, listen, Tug, I gotta pop off. I gotta go. Thanks for letting me in though. At the most disgusting part of this.
It's almost over anyway, so it's okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll let you go and you can read super chats and stuff. But thank you for
it was fun. All right. Later.
Bye, guys.
Get out of here. Whoops, I hit the turn that off button. Let me turn that back on. I left that super chat up too. I'm sorry about that. Okay. So this is the last page of it anyway. So also at around March 22nd, I was heading to dinner with my mother at Mamanoko's. We parked on the street and we're walking toward the restaurant. I saw Mr. M standing out front of Mamanoko's, looking up and down the street. We turned around and walked away. Now, why I want the restraining order, I genuinely think that he wants to kill me. Given that he has strangled and choked me, I know he's capable of inflicting lethal violence. This is fucked up. Like a judge giving this, it's such. So this guy goes and complains about being a victim of stalking by an ex, by her own telling of this. He's saying she's contacting my new girlfriend or whomever. She's contacting this person and saying these. I mean, she's found her. She's going to look her up, which is just wild when you think about it. She says all these things about it, and that ends up getting him an 8-year restraining. That's justice, ladies and gentlemen. Justice is more than blonde, man. Justice wears a gimp mask, I tell you. There's a deep hatred that he exudes toward me, and I'm afraid for my life. He has said in the past that if I ended up dead, he knew he would be blamed. He would be blamed. So he's like, that sounds like a reason not to harm somebody, you know, because he would be the person that got blamed. And yes, she's saying that he said that during their relationship, which is absolutely true, by the way. You never know what the context of that statement was. She just threw this in here randomly. I mean, but this is, oh my God, this is, it's even worse than I thought it would be. His hair-triggered temper horrifies me. I'm afraid that if I encounter him alone, he will lose control and harm me. She's never mentioned any time where he abused her outside of her claims in the bedroom. She keeps mentioning his temper and how he's going to lose control, but he never lost control. Even when you have all this stuff that's happening with his stepfather dying, of all of that, he still never loses control. But I don't want to live in constant fear of him, and hope that a restraining order will send a message for him to stay away. I want to move on. She didn't want to move on. I mean, she reached out to contact. She had sex with him in the aftermath. That's wild. That is wild stuff. Whew. I just, crazy times. Anyway, I'm going to end here today. I am just boggled with what I see. We will look at more case items as we go. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there. There's a lot to look at. There are other cases, and there's more to this one too. I'd like to, look at any other items that are in there as well. I want to see his declaration, but I'll probably put his declaration in its own stream because, well, let me see how long it is. I'm not going to put it on the stream, but I want to see how long it is. Give me 1 second. His declaration is 19 pages. So we'll look at that in another stream. I think it'll be a good read just to put it together. But anyway, I'm going to call this one here. I'm going to play a song to lead us out. And yeah, I mean, that's just, holy God. Anyway, all right. Well, I'm going to end here. Appreciate you. I don't know what to say there. It infuriates me. This is what I complain about a lot. There's a rule system. Like women get ignored. Of course, but men, man, I mean, if there's a way to flip it back on a guy, that's what happens. That's what happens. But anyway, all right, we're out of here. Here's a song.
This ain't a battle, baby, it's a walk by. Showering verbal rounds on those tiny clowns and laughing as they cry. I'm no longer taking what they're giving, cause they'll leave press on life, baby, that just ain't worth living. We aren't gaining, we're at war, with points of order worth fighting for. Gaining inches in this battle of attrition, as case by case we pass the ammunition. Hope that umbrella guy back with this communion. Mic check, mic wreck, it's audible reunion. Syllable call-outs wrapped up in this song. Nuclear fallout after dropping this mic bomb. We're not snatching chains, baby, now we're snatching souls. They crossed this verbal bridge, now they're paying my tolls. The media's flatline, there's no more resolutions. No forgive and forget, this pope ain't granting absolution. It's that umbrella guy pointing at the wrecked, laughing in their face as they keep demanding we respect. Our so-called social betters erasing all your gains. Listen and believe, wants to keep us in chains. It's that umbrella guy, declaring war on all the haters, dropping meteors on those dinosaurs, and bombing all the craters. A life in chains isn't worth living, and hope that umbrella guy ain't about forgetting. ain't about. You don't wanna erase the deception and the lies, the wolves in disguise. Now you're back to the drive-thru, but you already knew that like your mic skills, your time was limited. Now you're bankrupt, screeching is prohibited. So can I get that combo meal?